Well, the age-old battle between rest and rust just played out in a thrilling game one between the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs. A game I thought lived up to every expectation. That will be a thrilling, I think, still probably long, lengthy series in this 2026 NBA Finals. The New York Knicks playing their first game in what seems like weeks tonight. They've been off, I think, officially for 10 days coming into today. The Spurs had 3 days off after their emotionally charged 7-game epic against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this was a pretty tightly competitive, a low-scoring, a defensive battle, I would say, across the board here. Both of these teams came out with a hell of a defensive effort tonight, I thought. Practically nobody had a good game from an offensive standpoint on either team. Brunson and Wembanyama both put up their numbers, but both played poor games, I thought, overall from the field. Look, Brunson will get all the credit, as well he should, because he came alive in the fourth quarter. He made shots down the stretch when he had to, and he puts up ultimately 30 points, but he needs 31 shot attempts to get there. He had only 2 assists tonight and 4 turnovers. So not a great looking game on the surface for Jalen Brunson. And speaking of not a great game, Victor Wembanyama, who, yes, had 26 points and 12 rebounds. He also had 3 blocks to go along with it, but 6 turnovers for him. He ends with 2 assists on the night, and he shot only 6 of 21. So I think, look, 12 of 13 from the field for Victor Wembanyama, whereas Jalen Brunson, only 4 free throw attempts for him. He did the lion's share of his job from the field, but it took 31 shot attempts for him to get it. Again, he shot one of the poorest shooting performances on his team tonight. Look, they were only a +6 when he was on the floor tonight. Victor Wembanyama, a -3, a meager -3 for him. I thought Karl Anthony Towns, Zesty Cat, was terrific tonight. He ends with only 18 points, but he had basically all of that through the first 3 quarters. I thought he carried them through the 3 quarters, so Brunson could then take over in the fourth. And Cat, I was completely wrong. I thought OG Anunoby would get the singular assignment on Victor Wembanyama. It wasn't primarily. It was Zesty Cat that was getting most of that, and, of course, a lot of Mitchell Robinson sprinkled in as well. I thought he did a relatively good job tonight, even with the cast on his hand. Again, I don't know why he waited to have that pinky surgery. But look, this game teetered back and forth. It was a nip and tuck game. The Spurs had a couple larger looking leads. I think they were up by as many as 13 at one point in this game. But the Knicks had control early. The Spurs seized control through the middle portions of the game. And then the Knicks really took control away in the fourth quarters. And they did it with, yes, their defense. Look, all of the praise, all of the accolades, and all of the press going to the Knicks' historic offensive outburst in these NBA playoffs through the Eastern Conference. But underlooked was the fact that they had the best net defense in these playoffs as well. And tonight they used that element to go in and rip game one from the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio. The Spurs 4.5-point favorites, overwhelming, substantial favorites to start this series. They were roughly a 75% odds-on favorite to win this series at tip-off. I imagine that odds will now shift dramatically after game one as the Knicks rip that, and again, do it with the D. 95 points only for San Antonio. It is the first time all postseason. I checked it before I logged on here to join you guys. The first time all postseason that the Spurs have been held under 100 points, and they have played some hellaciously good defenses along the way to get here. And yet it is these Knicks off of a 10-day respite that holds them now to their lowest playoff total, and really just a whole team effort defensively, in my estimation, by the Knicks. 36% shooting from the field for the San Antonio Spurs, 26% shooting from the three-point line. And again, the head of the snake, Victor Wembanyama, just 26 points, but on 16 of 21 shooting. And again, a -3 overall. Look, these teams don't have a great wealth of bench players, not like the Thunder have anyway. I thought the Knicks, by and large, dramatically outplayed the San Antonio Spurs from a bench standpoint tonight. And the Knicks starters are good enough to play with anybody. So I see a lot of speculation in the live chat. Guys, welcome in, by the way, to Skap Live After Dark following a thrilling game one, I think. A very good, hard-fought defensive game one between the Knicks and the Spurs. Welcome in to everybody who is here, about 750 people. Welcome into moderator Gary. We'll get to him in a moment. And thank you guys all for being here and for tuning in. I see some speculation in the live chat area because, I was monitoring that before I hit that go live. I see people wondering, questioning, is Skap going to flip-flop off his pick? You're damn right I am. I said it when I made the pick, when it was San Antonio in 7. But I said if I had a time machine and I could go ahead in time or send my future self back 2 days later or whatever and tell me that the Knicks would have won game one, then my pick would have then been the Knicks in 6. So it is exactly, I flip-flopped last game, our last series as well, in that Western Conference final showdown between the Thunder and the Spurs. I had the Thunder in 7 to start, but as soon as the Spurs flipped the script and took game one, I flipped the script and went with the Spurs. That is exactly what I'm doing now in this NBA Finals series. The Knicks take game one, they rip home court advantage, and I am flipping the script as well, and I'm going with the Knicks in 6, baby. Count me in. Orange and blue skies. I'm now on the official wagon, and I say it all the time. Everybody mocks and ridicules me. Oh, it's just one game. It's a 7-game series, long series, best of 7, first of 4. Yeah, but you got to win 4. And the first team to win that first one, they have a dramatic advantage in my estimation. They are always ahead now of the 8 ball. It is the other team that has to make all of the adjustments. They're now perpetually going to be, for the remainder of the series, the one trying to play catch up. And ultimately, it is the Spurs now losing home court advantage. I think not only is game one pivotal in best of 7s, but in my estimation, my humble opinion, I've been saying it for like 30 years, it is even more essential that the home team takes game one and sets the tone right off the bat. The Spurs didn't do it. They had every opportunity. They were in command, I thought, early on in this game. Well, not early on, but in the middle stanzas of the game, they were in command. And look, the Knicks looked like they were going to run away with it in the 4th, but the Spurs fought back and they got right back in there. It was a nip and tuck tie game, and then the Knicks just pulled right back ahead. I think, look, credit to Jalen Brunson where credit is due. The guy played lousy through most of the game, and he hurt his leg, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse. He was 1 of 7 and had 3 points before he hurt his leg. So he wasn't playing well to begin with. 12 of 31, which I anticipated this. I thought he would score 25, 26 points per game this series, but it would be on volume. So he gets 30 on 31 attempts tonight. But he did make huge plays and shots down the stretch. Wouldn't have mattered, though, if it wasn't for the stifling New York Knicks defense, of which Jalen Brunson has practically nothing to do with. So just a credit to the New York Knicks. That looks like an absolute undeniable team of destiny at this point. I think I've been saying all the way along, at least for the last 2-3 weeks, that the Knicks would have a shot against whoever comes out of the Western Conference. I knew they would be hefty underdogs. I was afraid and scared off by home court advantage. And that shows me that I obviously should have stuck to my convictions and gone with my New York Knicks. Obviously from the beginning, and pick them in 6. Guys, now we are up to 880-ish people here. I got to just tell you quickly, please hit that like button. Send the show out to the rest of the interwebs. Let YouTube know. Tell the algorithm, damn it, Skap Live After Dark is a fun-ass show. It's an enjoyable time. The waters are always warm, as I say. We've got people coming from all over the world right now to join us. So please, if you don't mind, hit that like button. If you're not, I don't know why you wouldn't be. Subscribe as well. Turn notifications on to stay up to date with all things from me. Guys, we're going to have probably a lengthy, energized show tonight. We have a bunch of comments streaming in here, which I will get to all of them in short order. Let me first, though, say hello and welcome in moderator Gary, lifelong Spurs fan, who also was on the Spurs in 7 with me when we had our little pre-series pick show like 2 nights ago. Gary, welcome in. How are you feeling after tonight's game? Are you going to stick with your pick, or are you feeling maybe a flip-flop is in order along with me?
Nothing happened that I haven't already said dozens of times.
But you picked the Spurs in 7, Gary. Are you staying with that pick, or are you?
I didn't know that flip-flopping was even an option. Let me know the website where you can go and place your money. You can place a wager before the series starts, who's going to win the series. And then after game 1, contact them and be like, you know what? On second thought, I want to take the other team.
Easy, so Gary, any website. You could do that on any website. You go and you find whatever website you place your initial bet, and then you pick the Knicks to win the series. Now you double down. In fact, whatever money you put on the Spurs, if you bet the Spurs in game 1, you go back to that same betting installation. You double the amount of money that you laid down on San Antonio to win the series in game 1, and you put that double amount on the New York Knicks to win the series now. That's how it's done, Gary.
Wouldn't that be a second bet? Wouldn't it be a separate bet?
Gary, listen. Are you going to be difficult with me tonight? I flip-flopped last series after the first game. You stayed with your pick, which was Thunder in 7.
I didn't know we had the option to flip-flop.
We both picked the Thunder in 7 last series against the Spurs. True or false?
True.
Okay, and I flip-flopped immediately after game 1. I completely went back on it and said the Spurs would win the series. You stayed with the Thunder. True or false?
True.
Okay. Isn't it better to be right ultimately than go down with the ship? Don't you think?
But you're not right, because you took you I don't know. It's just that's just odd to me. I didn't know you're allowed to. It's like watching the Super Bowl after the first quarter.
Literally just last series after game 1. And I said yesterday, Gary, when we talked about this, I said, if the Knicks win game 1, I'm flip-flopping immediately and taking them. I don't know why this is such a shocker to you that I've come on and said that I'm doing that. Didn't I say it last time? Did I not say it on Monday? If the Knicks win game 1, I'm flip-flopping and taking them. Didn't I say that? True or false?
I'm not saying it's false, but that just feels a little LeBron-ish to me. That feels like something LeBron would do rather than someone who's actually like loyal to a pick.
So you are sticking with your Spurs pick then?
Oh, I've never flipped. I didn't, like I said, that's news to me that you can flip-flop a pick after. It's like 2 years ago, I thought the Chiefs were going to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But if I had placed a bet and then been like at the end of the first quarter when the Eagles had a lead, I couldn't then turn around and say, you know what?
You could, though.
Wow. I don't know. I guess that's news to me.
You can go right back in and double down on the other pick side. You can. Isn't it better, Gary? Let me ask you this. If you were watching that game, this is a great hypothetical, actually, Gary. If you were watching that Super Bowl and you had already thrown stacks down on the Chiefs and you were getting your ass beat to shit and you were hemorrhaging money, wouldn't it be better to go into that then same betting application and say, let me triple my money down on now the Eagles to win this game, so I not only save myself from losing all the money I'm about to drop on my terrible pick for the Chiefs, and then I actually make extra money because I went in on the Eagles. Isn't that better, Gary? Rather than having some bizarre, ridiculous sense of pride like, oh, I can't possibly bet on anything else now that I've bet on this team. I'm just going to have to lose my money. Like, is that what you're saying? That's better.
Wouldn't that be a separate bet, though?
Gary, it doesn't matter. It's bets. It's bets in the same game, Gary. All I'm asking you is if you still like the Spurs to win. I don't.
Flip-flopping is not an option for me. I don't flip-flop after the game is started. I don't do that. I didn't even know that was an option.
Gary, did I not flip-flop last series? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did.
And I didn't. I would do it again if the Knicks won in game one. Where is this? But I don't understand where this is coming from. What do you mean you don't understand? I literally did it last series, and I was right. You were wrong, Gary. You were wrong. You got last series pick wrong. I got it right because I flip-flopped. So that's all I was asking.
Skap,
confidence level.
Skap.
That's
we
all
both got it wrong. We both picked OKC in 7. We both got it wrong. The difference is I didn't jump ship. That's not true,
Gary. If I went in and bet on a team after game one, I would have tripled and quintupled down on the San Antonio Spurs. You would have been sitting there holding your pud and losing your money if you just sat there and stood on the Spurs. Listen, all I'm asking, Gary, I don't need you to make a pick. Do you still feel good about your pick, Spurs in 7? Yes or no? That's all I was trying to ask you.
I still think they can win in 7, sure.
Okay. So you're sticking with the Spurs. Anything that you saw tonight that would, because Brunson played, I thought, a horrible game tonight, by and large.
He did, and so did Wemby. Right.
And I don't know, quite frankly, this is my problem. I don't know if either one of them has a direct pathway to getting better. I think Brunson is going to just be corralled by and large. He'll get his numbers. He's going to be a volume scorer. I thought that is what was going to happen from the beginning of the series, win or lose for the Knicks. And Wembanyama, look, I thought the Knicks would do a pretty good job on Victor Wembanyama. And I just don't know if either Brunson or Wemby will be markedly better moving forward. So it's really going to come down to the supporting cast and primarily whose defensive supporting cast is going to be better. Tonight, I thought that was the New York Knicks. Like, say what you will, and I'm sure the Spurs will. Like, oh, Wembanyama played bad. We all shot bad. We can do better. The Knicks just came off a 10-day layoff. So they're obviously going to be extraordinarily rusty with their shots. I think they will get better moving forward. And they were on the road in a hostile environment as 4.5-point dogs, and they still come away with a mightily impressive 10-point victory. So I honestly, it's not about sticking with your pick convictions or anything. I'm just saying what I think, what I saw. Like with what I saw in the game tonight leads me to believe that the Knicks absolutely can win this series. I thought that, it was going to be a close, hard-fought series prior to game one tipping off. But I think the defensive dominance displayed tonight by the New York Knicks, basically their whole team, really has put me in a different headspace moving forward. Now, we'll see. Brunson, look, I don't know what the injury is to Brunson. If he doesn't play at all, or, if he's extraordinarily hampered or limited, then obviously, like if he's not on the court at all, like it's going to be hard for the Knicks moving forward. I don't know. He looked like he hurt his knee bad. It looked like he was maybe done. He was out for a long stretch of time in the early portion of this game. Then he hurt his knee. Then he hurt his leg again immediately. He came back in finally after an extremely long layoff, and then he hurt his knee again, or hurt his lower leg and on the same leg again. And he was chasing the official down the court, hobbling badly down the court to yell at the officials. And I was like, this series is probably going to be a sweep. Like the Spurs are probably going to sweep the Knicks because Brunson's done. He looks like he's done. And then miraculously out of nowhere, he got his bounce back. He wasn't hobbling at all. Like I don't know what happened. What kind of like miracle potion or whatever he took at halftime, but he came out. He still wasn't making a great wealth of shots from the field. He shot like 38% from the field tonight. This guy's shooting like 49%, I think, in these playoffs to this point. So I think this is just going to be what it is for him moving forward. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander struggled mightily, barely broke 40% against this team. I think that's what's going to happen with Jalen Brunson. But if he's on the floor and available down the stretch of these games, and the Knicks are going to make it close and hold it tight to the vest, I think Brunson is probably the clutchest guy on the floor. He is the closer. I think he's one of the clutchest players in the NBA. And if, look, if the Knicks are going to be able to have him available, and if they're going to play this level of defense and have it attainable at the end of games for Brunson to find a way to get it, I think the Knicks absolutely can win 3 out of the next now 6 games, whereas the Spurs have to win 4 out of the next 6. So I think big time advantage to the New York Knicks now moving forward throughout the remainder of this series. Guys, like I said, welcome in. About 951 people now in here. We just keep growing. See, I love to see it. See, typically we get a lot of people right at the top, then maybe people will trickle in, but usually you lose throughout. We're just getting more. I think we've gained like 200 people since I checked over here. So many thanks to you guys. Nearly, we're closing in on 1,000 people here in the Skap Live After Dark live show tonight. So again, guys, please hit that like button. Welcome in. Obviously, you heard from moderator Gary, who's already feeling spicy tonight and wants to argue. We just want to argue already early on here, but we are at the 21-minute mark of this show. There are already a crazy amount of comments to get to, which I will get to momentarily. I just want to take one quick final stroll through this box score and say that the Spurs bench primarily, in my estimation, has to get much better from game 1 to 2, specifically at home in game 2 in a pivotal must-win game 2. Really, Dylan Harper was the only guy to show up tonight. 16 points for him and 8 rebounds. So 16 and 8 in only 28 minutes off the bench for the young buck, Dylan Harper. That was pretty much it. Only 4 cumulative points the rest of the way. And I'm looking at you, Keldon Johnson. What the hell is going on with this? The 6th Man of the Year award winner this year, 8 minutes and 3 points for him. I don't understand why he's not getting more time. I don't know what's going on there. We'll see what kind of adjustments that Mitch has in store moving forward. Julian Champagny started the game off extraordinarily hot. I think he started the game off like, I think he was 15 on 5 of 6 at halftime. And he ended the game 16 on 5 of 11. So not much better thereafter. So, you know, they've got to do a lot better, obviously, from basically every specific position, I think, moving from this game to the next, including Victor Wembanyama, who I thought made his defensive presence felt throughout the entirety of the game. But Karl Anthony Towns was good, I thought, against him. I thought Cat was good going at him head to head, basically like taking him off the dribble at the top of the three-point line, got by him a number of times. Wemby got him once from behind, but Cat finished a number of those layups, like blowing right by Wemby at the top of the three-point line. And then conversely, look, I thought Karl Anthony Towns' defense was fantastic on Victor Wembanyama tonight. Fantastic. So Wemby's got to be much better. He's, of course, generational defensively, but 6 of 21 for 26 points just simply isn't going to get it done in this series. So kudos to the Knicks. They, again, strike first, and they have the advantage in this chess match now as they now do take game 1, and they take with it home court advantage, and they take with it that all-important momentum, the intra-series momentum now, as again, they only need to find their way to 3 more wins in the next 6 games. All right, let's welcome in. I know we're going to have a bunch of Knick fans. We've got a lot of Knick fans that watch. Obviously, Husmo Jimbo, the one that comes to mind most because, you know, he's an OG dating back to last year on these streams. So I'm sure we're going to hear from him sooner rather than later. But first, let's start it off here with Locomotion 965. What is up, Locomotion? Welcome into you. Thank you for leading us off here with this first comment of the night. Anyone's series, but Knicks on a generational run. It is now, I believe, 12 consecutive games. They have not lost. It is June 3rd. I believe their last loss in the postseason was April 23rd. So whatever that is, 6 weeks, they have not lost a playoff game. It absolutely, Locomotion, you're absolutely right. A generational run, to say the least, by the New York Knicks. And really, I thought an unforeseen win. I thought the Spurs would win tonight. I thought the Knicks would maybe be a bit rusty. I thought the Spurs were going to have all the momentum with less days off after taking that very emotional seventh game win. And I thought that win would set the tone for the remainder of the series. The Knicks would be playing from behind, playing catch up, and it just didn't go like that. The Knicks just stay hot. And they looked kind of poor at the beginning. Again, maybe some of that rust, but they clicked. They just started clicking on all cylinders defensively, and Brunson made enough shots along the stretch, down the stretch, to get this one over the finish line. And now, obviously, San Antonio backs against the wall majorly. I guess on Friday night is when that game will be played out. So Friday night, not much time off to now adjust and try to kind of adjust to some of the things that the Knicks showed tonight. Not a lot of time. And now maybe that rest becomes more of an advantage for the Knicks because they have had, 9-10 days off. So now they play, yes, this one game, they only have 1 day off, but they have stockpiled all that rest already, whereas the Spurs have just been playing all along against a very physical defense in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, I just mentioned him, and we actually didn't have to take or wait too long to hear from him. Cusmo Jimbo, welcome in to the party, and congratulations to you, my friend. It must feel like a hell of a night for you. 3 wins away from history. Cusmo, I don't want to guess your age, but I'm looking at your avatar. If that is a picture of you, I would assume you are definitely not old enough to remember the last New York Knicks championship, which was in 1973. So, you've got to be feeling great, as does all the Knicks fans in here and all the Knicks fans in Gotham City tonight. I know there was some obscene watch party going on outside the Garden tonight, and I'm sure all over the city. So we'll see what Friday holds in store. Either way, it's going to be 1-1 or 2-0 heading back into New York for Game 3, which I believe will be played then on Monday, and that will be an absolute insane asylum in the Garden for that Game 3. The energy will be palpable. So Q's Mode, shout out to you. Jalen MF Brunson, most hard from any NBA player I've seen since Kobe. Also, y'all see the dude who took a selfie on the court late in the game? I did. Actually, it was weird. And you're right. Brunson is a killer. He's a clutch assassin, and he is a Kobe disciple. So not too surprising, I guess it should be for us. But I did see the guy that ran on. It was quick. It happened fast. It came like right after a commercial break. I actually had to rewind it to see it. I was like, oh, someone just ran out on the floor. So I rewound it and saw it. Yeah, some guy ran out with his phone already ready, triggered to hit that selfie button. And I don't think he probably got it because there were a couple personnel on him immediately, which carried him basically swiftly off the court. I think they then did a jump ball. That was going to be a Knicks steal, I think. A live ball turnover by the Spurs coming out of that timeout. But the fan, this not a streaker because he had clothes on, but the fan that ran on kind of saved the Spurs. I think it became a jump ball situation, which of course Victor Wembanyama will win every single jump ball that he takes. All right, we've got Drew First Blood is in next. What's up, Drew? Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Oklahoma City Blouses made a guy who dribbled the ball off his foot in the NBA Finals look like the GOAT. I mean, Wemby definitely, yeah, he had that bad turnover at the end of the game. He dribbled the ball off his foot, led to one of those live ball turnovers. And Wemby actually tonight, look, he had 6 turnovers. So 6 field goals made and 6 turnovers. That's a James Harden game. So, and this guy came in, he I believe averaged 28 on 48 in the last series. So 28 on 48 against this historic defense of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have these 2 elite defensive bigs, the alleged defensive player of the year, runner-up in Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, the 3rd net-rated defender in the NBA behind only Wemby and Chet, and yet 28 on 48% in that last series and 26 tonight, but certainly not on 48. My math is not good. 6 of 21, though. what is that's about 37% off the top of my head. So and 6 turnovers. So yeah, Wembanyama is going to have to be much better moving forward, or his teammates are going to have to be much better moving forward. All right, we've got Stephanie in next. What's up, Stephanie? Thank you so much for joining us tonight, as always, and for supporting us here in the sponsor area. I know I can always count on you to be here in general and watching and interacting. This is what we wanted out of a finals. Crazy game. So glad Brunson and Wemby are okay after that scare. Jalen Brunson, Mamba mentality. No doubt about it. No doubt. Brunson played great down the stretch, had a great fourth quarter. But shout out to the defense, who again held the Spurs to 95 points and 36% shooting to allow Brunson to be there at the end, because Brunson wasn't lighting it up through 3 quarters. And still, even at the end of the game, he ends 30 points on 31 shot attempts. So I think Brunson, look, is the head of the snake, but the defense, the team defense, really, to me, is going to be the story moving forward if this is what they continue to do against the San Antonio Spurs. All right, we've got Dami P12 is in next. A little bit of a longer one here. Thank you, Dami, for your generous donation. I appreciate you. Gary, I'll turn this one over to you. What's Dami have for us?
Hey, Skap. Holy cow. Brunson channeling his inner Kobe with those clutch shots in the end. Wemby needs to train with Dirk in the offseason and keep that ball high and be more patient.
Yeah, I mean, Brunson is a stud. There is no doubt about that. In terms of his clutch game end abilities, and he had been bottled up most of the night. I can't see the quarter splits at this point. That's something I'll have tomorrow. I maybe it might be. Let me check NBA.com. I don't know that they would have them for whatever reason. It takes NBA Reference, my primary site of choice. It takes them till 7 a.m. to load those quarter splits. But let me see. They do have the NBA.com does have the quarter splits. So Jalen Brunson, 5 of 9 in the fourth quarter for 13 points. So a great fourth quarter for him. But if he's 5 of 9 in the fourth quarter and he was 12 of 31 the rest of the game, that means he was 7 of 22 going into the fourth quarter. So he's not in that opportunity. He's not in that moment to be able to make those clutch shots down the stretch if it wasn't for the New York Knicks and their crazy defense. And look, I take nothing away from Brunson. This is all he's going to be able to do this series. Look at the other guys that went against this Spurs defense and Stephon Castle. You had Denny Advia in the first round, Anthony Edwards in the second round, and then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the West Finals. They all played well below their standards from the regular season because of Stephon Castle. The guy is just a stud defender. So this is about what we can expect from Brunson because they've got other good guys. Even when Stephon Castle's not there, you still got Harper's a good defender and a big body to throw on him. Vassell can play minutes on him. So, I mean, Bryant. So, they've just got good athletic wings to throw at Jalen Brunson. He's going to score 25 to 30 points per game, but it's going to be on 40% or less. That just is what it is. It's the Knicks defense that's going to win this series ultimately. Stump 45-22 is in next. Knicks in 6. Mike Brown knows how to coach against Fox. Yeah, Stump, look, I'm with you. I feel the power now. I feel the energy. Go New York, go New York, go. I can feel it. I can feel the magic, the magical run that the New York Knicks are on right now, hunting that first championship since 1973. Look, I felt as if the Spurs, and look, maybe Gary's right. Maybe they still do get it back in Game 7, get it into San Antonio. And that's why I was scared to pick the Knicks, because I don't think the Knicks can win a Game 7 in San Antonio. I also don't think that the Spurs will be able to stave off elimination on the road in the Garden with all of the energy, all how electric that's going to be, all of the history, all of the ghosts that will be out in that building in a potential closeout game 6 opportunity. I just don't think that the Spurs are going to be able to win a game and stave off elimination, and like they did in Oklahoma City. I just do not see that happening. So if the Knicks could find a way to get the closeout in their building, then I thought that they would win the series, which is why I thought game 1 was pivotal. And I always do think game 1s are massive. I've been thinking that for 30 years, and particularly against home teams that are pretty slightly big favorite. Like the Spurs are huge favorites in the series coming in. I mean, 75, 76% implied win probability based on what the odds were to begin this series. Again, my guess is that those odds will shift pretty dramatically going into the next game. I am interested to see if the next line is set yet or not. The Friday line is set. Spurs -5.5 open. So they opened at 4.5 in this one. They shifted down to 3.5. They bumped back to 4.5, and now they're 5.5 in at home for that game 2, which I absolutely think the Spurs are going to win that game. We've got Will N8664 is up next. Thank you, Will. Welcome back into the show, a regular. Appreciate you as always for being here. Gary, what does Will have for his question or comment to accompany this generous donation?
I'm glad Brunson went off on Scott Foster at the end of that game. Forget those refs. Mikal had a fast break, but they call it a jump ball. It was so much BS.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the calls were pretty good, honestly. Although there was at one point like a massive free throw differential in the game. At one point, it ended not bad. It was like 25 to 18 was the total free throw disparity. However, a bunch of those free throws came at the end of the game for the Knicks, like just making free throws towards the end. For a while, I think the Spurs were sitting around 12, 13 free throws to 1 for the Knicks. So a pretty hefty and glaring free throw differential there. But overall, I actually thought that the refs were pretty good by and large in the game. Stephanie is back in yet again. And she thinks that thank you, Stephanie, and welcome back into you. She thinks it's weird to watch a game rooting for both teams equally. But I think I kind of want the Knicks to win it all because now might be their only chance. See, that's the way I feel. I'm very torn. I like both of these teams. They're both high character teams. I like the leaders on each team. I like all the players. I like the coaches. I'm have an internal debt of gratitude that I feel that I need to repay San Antonio for putting the Thunder out. But ultimately, look, I think the Spurs will be back several times over the next 6 to 7 years, several times. Whereas I think the Knicks are just going to be one of these outlier teams like we've seen in the last 7 years or whatever, that we're now going to see a new champion for the first time in 8 years. I think the Knicks will join the ranks of all of those that came before them and never get back here. So I really just want the Knicks to finish this historic run off and get Brunson and company the one and only ring I think that they're going to get ultimately as a team in New York. And then probably the Spurs begin next year. And they could for sure still come back and win this series. But I like where the Knicks are right now after this game 1 outcome. We've got Don SGC is in next. Congrats, Jeremy Sohan, for the NBA championship. Yeah, of course. Let me see exactly what he did tonight. Nothing. DNP coach's decision. Of course, he used to be on the Spurs, and he actually gave some intel about Victor Wembanyama. Or I think, look, someone caught up to him. Some writer caught up to him and asked him about Victor Wembanyama and said basically like there's a misconception about how to attack Victor Wembanyama. Like you see, he's gangly and skinny and not a lot of muscle. So a lot of people want to try to bang and beat him up. but that's not the way you attack. You try to keep him engaged in as much actions as you possibly can. Run him like crazy up and down the court. Keep the pace of the game very high and just tire him out. Like, because even though he's an elite athlete, he still is massive and it still requires a lot of energy to move that size of a body. So, like, get him tired out, fatigued. That is the best way to really attack and go at Wemby. And I thought that's kind of what they did with him tonight. And his shot struggled mightily as a result. He did get to the line a bunch. He made a ton of them, 12 of 13 from the free throw line tonight, but only 6 of 21 from the field. So, look, round one definitely goes to the New York Knicks, to the New York Knicks defense, obviously, in this matchup. And we'll see how Mitch and company on the Spurs, counterpunch over, into the remainder of this series, but starting specifically in game 2 on Friday night. Will is back in again. Will in 8664. Welcome back in, Will. Thank you very much. On a lighter side, though, I actually laughed when the Spurs trolled the Knicks introduction music. You know what? I didn't see it. I watched the whole game, but I generally have the games on mute. I don't listen to the games practically ever. I can't stand the broadcast teams usually. I will listen to the last 3 to 5 minutes of the game usually, but other than that, I'm muted for the most part. Gary, do you know what Will is referring to? And if not, Gary's shaking his head no. So Will, just go ahead. Gary will keep an eye on the live chat area. I didn't see it, but the Spurs trolled the Knicks intro music. Explain to me what you mean. And Gary, keep an eye if somebody else might explain it for Will over there. Keep an eye and let me know. Just interrupt me whenever. In the meantime, we've got George Costanza is in next, the Human Fun CEO. Skap, Gary chat. What's up, George? Who thinks Rich Paul needs a doc? Well, he needs something. Rich Paul, he's on that delusional stuff. Now, I just did a video on him. He said he made some outrageous comments, just some outrageous comments. That Scotty, and I don't even know if this is what you're talking about, George, Human Fun CEO, aka Human Fun CEO. But I honestly should start listening to Rich Paul and Max Kellerman's podcast every day, because every day there's some idiocy that probably warrants some kind of a response that I could just do a daily reaction to their podcast, basically, if I wanted to. I saw a few days ago, and I made a video promptly on it, that Rich Paul was saying Scottie Pippen was the most impactful player on the Bulls' 6 championship runs, and that Michael Jordan would be 0-6 if they just removed Scottie Pippen. Of course, he didn't want to hear about just put one of the 10 other all-stars that were percolating around the league, any one of 10 to 15 all-stars that were in the league at that time on the Bulls in place of Scottie Pippen, and they likely still win the 6 in my estimation. Who knows? Maybe one more, one less, something like that. But Jordan's certainly not 0-6. So, Human Fun, he needs something. Just when we thought that Rich was ready to bite the hand that has been feeding him in LeBron James, he comes out with that ridiculous over-the-top nonsense and glazing about, obviously, I know it wasn't directly related to LeBron James, but everything these LeBron James jock sniffers and bootlickers say basically that is negative about Michael Jordan in a roundabout way is just intended to sniff LeBron James, sniff the crown jewels. So, Rich Paul just let us all know that the relationship is fine and well between he and LeBron. All right, we've got Bobby Valentino 6773 is in next. What's up, Bobby? Welcome into you, my friend. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for this super sticker. I don't know what these things are necessarily, but I do appreciate it very much. Just a way, I guess, to donate money and support the cause, support the show, and not even want a question or comment or anything like that. Bobby, thank you very much. I appreciate it. 26, Mr. WrestleMania is in next. What's up, Mr. WrestleMania? Welcome back into the show. Another regular here, as most of you guys are at this point. Something is wrong when Harper, your guard, is playing in the paint more than your 7'4" center. I need Wemby to get his big ass in the paint. GG Knicks. What?
Good going, Knicks.
Was it?
Good going.
Good going. Okay, gotcha. I thought maybe it would be a go New York, go New York, go New York, go New York, go. But anyway, yeah, Wemby spent a lot of time out of the paint tonight. He certainly did. He shot 9 3-pointers, which probably you don't want to see. He can make them. He shoots a high volume from time to time, and he does make them from time to time. But when you don't have it going like he did in tonight, he was 2 of 9 from 3. Yeah, you kind of want to see him get it going and go to the rim a little bit more, play a little bit more in the paint. But look, the Knicks have big bodies. And we said this going in, like they've got personnel that can kind of give Wembanyama some issues. So, Mitchell Robinson's a huge body. Karl Anthony Towns is a huge body. Let me see if I can get the actual height and weight here. Let's see here. Mitchell Robinson, 7 foot, 245. Looks bigger than that. Wemby's 245. Mitchell Robinson looks like a much thicker 245 than Wembanyama. And then Karl Anthony Towns, 7 foot, 250. Also, same deal. He's about the same weight, allegedly, as Victor Wembanyama. But I guess Wemby's got like 6 or 7 inches on them. So I guess that's where it's at. But the two bodies just look stouter, bigger, and more prone to physicality right now. So just kind of pushing Wemby out. They did a good job too, rotating out on shooters. Didn't let really any of the shooters get loose tonight. Nobody really had a good game offensively for the San Antonio Spurs. And look, I think if you told me going in to this series, and it's just one game, but if you told me that the Knicks defense was going to play the Spurs better than the Thunder defense, I probably would have rejected that premise. But that's exactly what happened in game 1. Okay, we've got Lou Cap 81. What's up, Lou? Welcome into you. Thank you so much for your very generous donation. I appreciate you. Gary, what is the question or comment which accompanies this very generous donation?
There were times Wemby looked clumsy, as if he were operating in slow motion like that cringy fraud Embiid. Is this just a product of a tough Knicks defense or inexperience, or might this be a real problem for his career?
No, I don't think this is going to be a problem for his career. But it's certainly, look, he has a limited offensive game right now, which just shows how great he is. The fact that he's averaged 25 and 11 in the regular season this year, was first team All-NBA and third in MVP vote, with an extraordinarily limited offensive skill set and repertoire at this point. I feel like he's got to get way better in the paint and get a good post set of skills. And in addition to that, he's got to continue to add muscle. He has been, and he will continue to. So that's something that he's got to continue to work on and to work towards, I think. And he certainly, has the mindset and the work ethic that will make that a reality into the offseason. And then probably has to do a little less from outside. He already mitigated those shots to some degree. He shot more last year than this year. I think he'll shoot less next year than this year. So I think he's got to get closer to the basket, operate more in the paint in these sets. And I think that's just going to come with more time, more training, more work, and expansion on his game and expansion on that frame. So I don't think it's anything to be concerned with moving forward into his career, Lou, but it certainly is a cause for concern in this series. I think the Knicks, their defense, I think just maybe better even. Look, the offense, again, gets all of the storylines, all of the credit. Jalen Brunson will probably be finals MVP, obviously, if they win this series. But ultimately, the defense is typically what wins championships in all sports, not just basketball. And the defense has been just as good in the postseason as has their offense. Their defense in this playoff run now is number 1 in the NBA. 102.9 net defensive rating in the postseason. The Spurs 104.5 is the second best net rated defense. So, better. And then you've got the Oklahoma City Thunder, who were number one in the regular season all year long. They were just sixth in these NBA playoffs, substantially below the New York Knicks. Like the Thunder, a 111 net defensive rating per 100 possessions. So they give up roughly 111 points in the playoffs per 100 possessions to the Thunder. That number was up about 5 points from the regular season, whereas the Knicks, 102.9 per 100 possessions, down pretty drastically from the regular season. I'm trying to get to it now to see exactly, but the Knicks, they were an upper echelon defensive team, but they certainly weren't like league best. They were in the regular season, they were the seventh best net rated defense. So they gave up 112 points per 100 possessions in the regular season, 102 in the playoffs, a 10-point cut by the New York Knicks. So to me, the story is, again, the Knicks defense, and their offense has been great too. So go figure. That's why this run is just so crazy and historic. Okay, we've got 26 Mr. WrestleMania, and flip-flopping is like double dipping a chip. Just take one bite and end it. Some character on Seinfeld. That is a direct Seinfeld quote. Timmy, listen, Timmy, Mr. WrestleMania, you dip the chip the way you want to, and I'll dip the chip the way I want to, Timmy. Yes, great episode. George is, of course, at, I believe, a woman he's dating's grandmother's wake, and helping himself to the chip line and the snack line, and he double dips a chip. And I believe the woman's brother, Timmy, takes exception. It's like putting your whole mouth in the bowl. Just take one dip and end it. And then, of course, they start battling and fall over the table of snacks in epic Costanza type fashion there. But listen, Mr. WrestleMania, I'll flip-flop the way I want to here, damn it. And I'll take the Knicks in 6. But great reference for sure. All right, the Incorruptible with Gaslit Gary. The Incorruptible has updated his Gary avatar there. That's a pretty snazzy looking avatar there, Mr. Incorruptible. Gary, you should be honored by the Incorruptible's homage to you on his avatar now. And Incorruptible, thanks for being here as always. I appreciate it very much. Gaslit calling Skap Brawnish wasn't on my bingo card. Yes, well, Gary and I have been off for a day, so we haven't gotten to argue about anything for a whole day now. So he had to come in hot. But look, I understand. Look, and I'm not saying that it's an admirable thing to do. Look, I understand you want to go down with your pick, and I did my second flip-flop pick last series. I did go down with my Spurs pick after I flip-flopped off the front. But when they lost game 5 to go down 3-2, it looked mighty bleak in that series in the West Finals. Mighty bleak. In fact, the odds for the championship at that point were Spurs plus 550, and the Thunder were like minus 180 to win the championship after game 5. But I did not flip-flop a second time. I remained with my first flop and stayed with the Spurs, and they rewarded me by winning that game 7, game 6 and game 7 ultimately. And I will not be double flopping now. Like, obviously, if the Spurs win game 2 and then go on the road and win game 3, obviously it will then look good again for the Spurs. But I will remain with my second flop pick the whole way. I will go down now. But I understand what Gary's saying. There is honor in going down with the ship, I suppose, in your picks. But there's also just a desire to be right about the pick, right? So I feel like I was very conflicted in this series, just like last. I was very conflicted, both series. I ultimately went with the home team to win a home game 7. And then game one, look, that's to me, game ones are very pivotal, very pivotal. Everyone has made fun of me for years. Skap, you're you're doomsday or you're overreacting. It's just one game. It's a long series. First of all, but game ones to me are absolute tone setters and massive momentum kind of shifters, especially if you are the home team losing that game one. Now, obviously, like all of the pressure and everything squarely on a very young San Antonio Spurs team, I think they'll come out and answer it. And look, they faced a lot of pressure in the last series as well. But ultimately, look, they were facing elimination at home in San Antonio in game 6 when they staved off elimination at home. Then both teams were facing a lot of pressure, the Thunder and the Spurs in game 7. The Spurs are going to be facing a ton of pressure now at home here again in game 2. We'll see how if they meet it again like they did in game 6 of the last series, because if they go down 0-2 at home, it is 100% over. While I think the Spurs aren't dead yet and they can easily get back in the series and still win this thing, if they go down 0-2 and it's going to New York, put a fork in the Spurs because they're finished. All right, the incorruptible back in.
Are you going in order on these chats?
Yeah.
Okay, there were a slew that you missed.
Oh.
I guess they're not showing up on your end for some reason. I don't know. I see 45 super chats. How many do you see?
Oh, you know what? I think I just jumped. It just gapped for some reason. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm seeing okay. Yeah. I see. Yeah. I see what happened here. Okay, let me get back up. Should we be on GGY 7104?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, let me read this one, and then I actually do want to jump down because I just caught one that I want to give a quick shout out to. But yeah, I will jump back up. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. My starred things have been a little hazy lately, Gary. Keep me honest on those and make sure I don't skip anybody. GGY 7104, Vic, most coddled star ever. Nobody cares when he's shit. I wouldn't say he's the most coddled star ever. I mean, I call him out. I called him out a lot in game 1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think it's fair to give him some grace as he's 22 years old, but it's also fair to be critical of him as the best player in the NBA. If many people think that he's the best player already in the NBA and that he is to snatch that mantle from Nikola Jokic already, then we should be looking at him through the lens and have the expectations for him that he is the best player in the NBA, regardless of age. And 7 of 26, or 7 of 21 for 26 points, 6 of 20, I think it was 6 of 21, I'm sorry, for 26 points, just simply not good enough tonight. So I think he has to be much better. I think he will be much better. And ultimately, I think the Knicks are perfectly positioned to defend this team. And they certainly looked pretty good in game 1. We'll see. Regardless of what happens, look, Victor Wembanyama, I don't think he's going to go down like sad as hell in this series. I think he's still going to play a great series. I think it's not going to be like a LeBron James 21 points per game on 35% shooting for the whole series like he had when he was 22. Maybe it will be. Either way, no one really holds that against LeBron James. James had ample opportunity to come back and make up for that. I don't think he ever did. I don't think he ever made up for the 2011 gag fest either. But that's another story for another day. I think Victor Wembanyama will have plenty of opportunities the remainder of his career to look and be much better, and I think he will capitalize on that. And that's just saying if he ends up losing this series, which I'm not confident that they will, that they are dead just yet. Sorry, Gary, I am going to jump once and then I'll go back up. But I just see this HP Luna shout out. So I just have to, bring little Luna up. She actually, guys, got a new bed, this pink bed. Oh, look at this little girl. Look at this. Look at this. The best part of the show by far is little Luna. The best looking part of the show and just the best part overall. The real brains the real brains and the beauty behind the show. She actually got a fresh new bed, a nice pink hooded bed, and she just has not warmed up to it yet. She still is going into her old Navy bed. So next time I lift her up like that, maybe she'll be in her pink bed. All right, jumping back to the Incorruptible. Welcome back, Incorruptible. Thank you very much for coming back in yet again. Probably several of these coming up. LeGaslit, what will your Spurs do with twice injured, forever clutch Brunson? Yeah, I don't know. They did pretty well against him for most of the game, I thought, until the fourth quarter. And then Brunson was absolutely clutch and elite in that fourth quarter. There's no doubting that. I don't know. They're probably, quite frankly, Incorruptible. I don't know. Gary could answer if he wants. I don't know if there is any adjustments, quite frankly. I think that basically, sorry, I'm getting blown up here. I think one of my friends who's not really on usually is on the live chat. I don't think there is much adjustments that they can do at this point. I think they just throw what they have at Brunson. Maybe they navigate the screens a little bit differently moving forward. I don't know. Gary, what's your take on that? Let me look at this message from Nick, who I think wants a shout out, but go ahead, Gary. And what would you do? What kind of adjustments would you make, Gary, if you were Mitch Johnson between tonight and Friday, if any?
I'll just keep putting Castle, Harper, and Bryant on them and just trying to slow them down as much as possible. You're not going to totally stop them, but slow them down and just focus on everyone else and just keep playing. This game tonight, I mean, we lost to the Timberwolves. And then Kendrick Perkins got cooked for flip-flopping his pick. And then we saw how that turned out. And people talking shit to me in the chat about, oh, Gary's upset. You guys don't know me. If you, in the 2012 Western Conference Finals, we were up 2-0. We swept the Jazz. We swept the Clippers. We were up 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals, and I was talking to a friend of mine and he says, yeah, this series is over. I said, no. I said, we're in good position. We're up 2-0, but it ain't over. And then what happened? 4 straight OKC. 2013 Finals, Spurs go up 1-0 on the Heat after that amazing Tony Parker shot over LeBron at the end of the game. I said, we're only up 1-0. I don't get too high on wins. I don't get too low on losses. We went up 1-0 in the 2014 Finals. I didn't get too high up on them either. So I don't know why everyone expects me to have a big reaction. None of you even know me. And honestly, Jay just met me not that long ago. Jay, have you known me to start freaking out at the beginning of a game? I don't, because I've seen too many comebacks. I saw what the Patriots did in that Falcons Super Bowl. They had no business of winning. I saw the Seahawks choke that Super Bowl away on a play where basically all they had to do was hand the ball off the Lynch and it was over. I've seen too many crazy things happen. So no, I don't get too overworked at the beginning of a series or a game. I let it play out, and then towards the middle of the second half of series or game, I start feeling confident or lacking confidence.
And see, I typically always panic and overreact, but my overreactions are typically always right, though, because when the Nuggets were up 20 in game 2 this year, they were up 1-0 in the series. They were up 20 in game 2. They blew that 20-point lead in like one quarter and then choked that game away. And as soon as that happened, I said, series is over. And so it was. I picked the Spurs last round, as soon as they lost, or I picked the Thunder last round. As soon as they lost game 1, I said the Spurs will win the series. And so they did. So I think, yes, Gary, it's good to be tempered and not overreact too early, obviously. But sometimes, just sometimes, you can tell early. Like, you can tell. Like in that Super Bowl that you referenced, the Eagles and the Chiefs, like you knew, like maybe the Chiefs were going to make it a game. It was close, Gary, until the 21-year-old kid it was his birthday in that game, picked off Mahomes and returned it for a touchdown near the end of the second half. It was close. It was like a one-score game the whole first half. But you knew the Eagles were beating their ass. Like, you knew that, like, it was over. You could just feel it. So, like, yes, it's good. It's healthy for you overall to not, as a person, to not overreact or get too high or too low early on. But sometimes you absolutely can tell when a team is it's just not a good matchup, or like it's just not going to go your way. Like, you can kind of tell. Gary, I was a huge Peyton Manning fan back in the day. I knew on the first drive in the New York Super Bowl against the Seahawks that it was over. I knew in the first drive, and they were favored in that game. And Peyton Manning was like the league MVP, and they set the all-time records with the offense. And he had the most touchdowns ever and the most yards ever. And like, Peyton Manning, this was his coronation Super Bowl. Like, I knew in the first drive they were going to get their ass beat. And so they did. It was like 44-8 or something, like 42-8. So sometimes you just can't tell. Nick, shout out to Nick Coton. Did I miss? First of all, Nick, thank you for tuning in. Nick is a longtime friend. We go very far back. Actually, Nick and my friend Ryan created this YouTube channel for me, like 6 years ago. I didn't start using it till like 2 or 3 years ago, 3 years ago now. Not using it the way I should be doing, not using it the way Nick and Ryan intended it to be used. But they actually made me the YouTube channel and urged me to do YouTube. So Nick, shout out to you. We go all the way back to college. We met our first day in college. So 18 years old, young bucks. Now we are not 18 years old anymore. I can tell you that much. Nick has said he's on the stream. He has said that he has sent a comment. I feel like I've neglected the comment. Nick, either text me, what is your handle, or text me your question. And I will give you, I will ask you. I would like to put it up if I could find it. Otherwise, just text me if you're still on, bro. And thanks for watching. All right. We've got next in AJ O'Henry 447. What's up, AJ? Welcome into you. Appreciate it. Gary, it's over. Knicks in 4. Bah. I don't think it's gonna be 4, AJ. That's a little too far. I think Knicks in 6 would be the pick now at this point. Sorry, Nick has just sent his actual question. He has texted his question in. He wants to know if I ate Lindor's birthday cake. That's a little inside story, I think. Nick, I don't think that the regular people, that the followers here on Skap Live After Dark are ready for the Lindor story. But maybe if we're catching up on these super chat comments, I could get into the Lindor story perhaps at some point. But again, bro, thanks for tuning in and being here, Nick. I appreciate it, brah. And AJ, to you, I really do not think that the Knicks can win this thing in 4. If they do, it's probably the best playoff run ever. If the Knicks end the playoffs on a 15 game win streak to sweep the Spurs, who are a heavy favorite to start the series, it's got to be one of the best, maybe not the best, but it would go right up there with the 2017 Warriors, the 83 faux Celtics, and of course, as I talk about them all the time, the 2001 LA Lakers. All of those teams lost only one game in the postseason. The Knicks, of course, lost 2 games by 1 point each in the first round against the Hawks. Actually, we're down 2-1 to the Hawks in the first round, and they have not looked back since. Now, 12 consecutive wins following that. So if they go 4-0 in this series, AJ, I don't even know what to say. It's like one of the craziest runs I've ever seen in my life. And I've been watching this tournament, the NBA playoff tournament, for 30 years now. All right, 26, Mr. WrestleMania is back in. Wemby played Cat too close He needs to give him room. And if Cat wants to shoot that three, then let him. Cat was just driving by Wemby consistently. He was. Like Wembanyama was up in Cat's chest. And look, Cat can make those shots. Cat shoots a lot of threes in general. And he's a good shooter. Let me see here. The Knicks, by the way, 120 points per game coming in. The best points per game in the playoffs coming in, 100.6 allowed. The best defense. It's just crazy. They're scoring the most points and allowing the least amount of points coming in. Just an absolutely bananas run by them. But to look at like Cat, he is a prolific three-point shooter. Like he shoots a lot. For his career, he shoots 4 a game. His career high back in 2019, 2020, 8 a game. This dude shot 8 3-pointers a game. He has a year where he shot 6 twice, 6.3 and 5.7 twice. He was down to only 4.1 this year and 4.7 last year. So he shoots less now in context of this team. And look, he's only shooting 3 in the playoffs right now coming in. So actually he hasn't been as prolific or not shooting as many as we become accustomed to seeing over the beginning portions of his career. However, I'll tell you, I understand why Wemby was up into him, because Cat can make those and he will shoot those. But Wemby got blown by a couple times. You're right. I mean, Cat was consistently and legitimately beating him to the basket. And Wemby did get one block from behind on him. But other than that, like, Cat was either getting fouled or making layups. Like, he was really, I mean, he was beating him off the dribble. So I didn't think that zesty Cat had that fleet of foot in him. Like, I didn't think that Cat had that speed to beat Wemby like that. And he's got a bigger body too. Like I said, I think I said 7 foot 250. So he can kind of use that big body to shield Wemby a little bit if he gets a step. So maybe, yeah, we'll see. Maybe that's one of the adjustments. Ultimately, look, the problem is Wembanyama is taken out of the paint because Cat is setting up outside. So like Wembanyama wants to live in the paint primarily. And I mean, Chet couldn't make those threes last game or last series with any consistency to make Wemby have to really get out there and honor it. So we'll see. Maybe one of the adjustments is put somebody else. They might, I don't even know who it would be. Like who would you switch off if you want to keep Wemby closer to the basket? Who do you even put on Cat though? Then because they like to start 4 smaller bodies. The Spurs do. So like I don't even know what the adjustment would be unless you want to start Cornette and go double big, which the Spurs simply just have not shown a proclivity to do. If they didn't do it against Oklahoma City last round, I doubt they're going to do it this round. So really, Wemby's got to find a way to get closer to the basket and be more impactful under there. But if Cat's setting up outside, it's going to make it hard for him to do that. All right, James Cav 81. We got another Knicks guy in here. James, shout out to you. Congratulations, James, on the win tonight. An excellent win by your Knicks. I'm sure you're sky high on this one. Thank you very much for your very generous donation. I appreciate it. And Gary, what is the question or comment that accompanies this generous donation by James?
It wasn't pretty, but my Knicks found a way. Brunson was obviously upset during and after the game with the refs. Skap, do you think it's warranted?
I honestly thought the game was pretty well called by and large. He was enraged at the 1-0 call where he had just checked back in after he hurt his leg, and he drove to the basket, got the hoop, landed, hurt his leg again, and was absolutely incensed with the officials. He got up and speed hobble walked his way to the officials to complain about it. They showed the play again then in replay. I didn't see anything that led me to believe that was a glaring no call there. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see anything that stood out to me. The Spurs are an extremely physical team. And look, the Knicks are too, obviously. They're a great defense. So I feel like, generally speaking, the more aggressive team is the one that gets the lion's share of the calls. So the Knicks probably have been used to getting a lot of the calls, but now they're playing a very physical kind of defensive counterpart to them. So I mean, you just got to ultimately play through it. If it's not the Thunder, I feel like you don't have that much of a leg to stand on to complain about officiating. Like, to me, the only team I see that when I watch games that are like extremely lopsided or very frustrating in terms of the official call department, it would be the Thunder. But I didn't see anything glaring or that jumped out at me tonight in this game. James Cav 81 back in back to back. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Knicks are a complete team. Brunson's got heart. I mean, there you go. There you have it. I'd love to see it. I don't know that they'd be back. This is one of those magical type runs that I just don't know if you're ever going to see them be able to recapture this again. If they win the championship this year, like, I still don't think they're going to be favored next year. I don't think that they're going to maybe even be favored to get out of the East next year, even if they win this championship. So it will be interesting to see if they do win it, kind of how this title is perceived around the league. Regardless, the way I would think of it is they just built a great team around Brunson. Like, they built a team that fits around Brunson perfectly, a great defensive team that could kind of hide him on that end of things and then just let him operate in the clutch when he has to. And he showed tonight yet again that he's very good at doing that. All right, George Costanza comes back in. Sohan will win a ring before Lil Game James. Yeah, it certainly looks like that. Well, if they get this year's, whether or not if they do or don't, Little Game James is likely heading towards never getting a ring because he's 37 now, I think. And it's either going to be Cleveland or I don't know where. Like, if basically, I think he's back in Cleveland unless LeBron wants to go there. If LeBron wants to join up in Cleveland, likely they dump Little Game James. I don't think they could go LeBron, Donovan Mitchell, and James Harden. It just doesn't work. Too many ball dominators, too many high usage guys. And I feel like they would probably rather have LeBron James than James Harden at this point. So I feel like I don't know where Harden will go if they dump him in Cleveland, but more than likely it ain't going to be to the Knicks or the Celtics or the Spurs or the Thunder. And therefore, if it's not to any of those teams, then he ain't going to be sniffing a ring. So, and he's, like I say, he's probably only got about 2 years left. So likely he will never, ever get a ring. So I think you're likely right, Human Fund. All right, Gregory Lieber is in next. Gary got chapped. Gary got chapped cheeks tonight. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Gary takes offense to my flip-flopping, I suppose. Though I did, in fairness to me, flip-flop last series, and he saw me do that. And then I absolutely said 100% equivocally and with conviction that I would be flip-flopping immediately after game one if the Knicks won, which they did. So I don't know why it was such a shocking surprise to Gary, but he took exception to my flip-flop. I
wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked. I just said I didn't. To me, it's not an option. So no, I'm not flip-flopping because I don't do that after a series starts. That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I see things change. Like, even, I'll be honest, I bet games at times, and then in the first quarter, like on the first drive, I go and bet like the opposite. And because I'm like, well, I was just wrong. I was wrong on that. Like, I see the way this first like 2 drives or possessions have gone, and like I just need to adjust that because it ain't going to go that way. I actually thought the Eagles were going to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So and I bet accordingly. So I didn't need to flip-flop on that one. But I'm like, one game I got wrong recently on a high stakes was I thought the Niners would beat the Chiefs too. And I thought the Niners should have been killing the Chiefs in the first half, that the Niners should have been up by like 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half. The fact that it wasn't and that it was close, I'm like, damn it, the Chiefs are going to do some shit and win this somehow at the end. And so they did. They won in overtime. So like, I just see, look, I just think that sometimes you see something and Gary, and I'm going to be honest with you, the Knicks, this was a hard series to call because the Knicks looked so good defensively and offensively, but they just looked like they were such a great team through the East. But it's hard to say, Gary, it's like when you see a guy at college that's playing Division II and lighting it up? Like, how good is that guy? Is he really that good, or is it because he's playing shitty competition? That's kind of with the East. Like, are the Knicks really this good? Or is it just because they're playing inferior competition, and will they be exposed then when they get to an actual legitimate contender and like real competition in the San Antonio Spurs? Like, I simply couldn't gauge that until I saw it. And now that the Knicks went toe to toe and looked to be as physical, better maybe defensively than the Spurs, now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, that was for real. Like, the sample size we saw in the East was the real deal. So like, I'm just changing like early on. So I understand what you're saying, but like, there's something about like, do you want to just go down with it and be wrong, or change and be right? Like, I get it. And look, it's only one game. It is like, that's fair enough. Like, it looked bleak for the Spurs when it was 3-2 after game 5. It looked bleak. Like, teams that win that swing game win like 83% of the times. So the Thunder had an 83% chance to win that series based on NBA historical precedents when they won game 5 and the safety net of a game 7 at home, and they still lost. So things can change drastically in the course of one game. So I'm not suggesting that it's over. I'm just saying the Knicks are truly capable of winning this series. And I think they just have something special about them right now, that I think that they're just on this magical kind of run. And it just seems like they are a team of destiny. And the Spurs just maybe shot their wad, so to speak, one series early, because that was such a physical, emotional, and mentally exhausting series to me. And they are so young. So I feel like maybe all those things factored in after seeing it in game 1. I just kind of like where the Knicks are right now. That's all.
Well, for me, I haven't been strong. The only strongly time I've been confident about the Spurs in the playoffs is that they would beat Portland. You remember, I didn't even know how to pick the Timberwolves, because to me, I'm more observing how my team is playing. Like, I've been watching the Spurs all year. I didn't feel strongly one way or another in the Timberwolves series or the OKC series. I did think OKC was going to win, nor do I feel strongly one way or another in this. I said before, the Knicks are a better team overall, but I think the Spurs will find a way to get it done, because every series this playoff so far, they've made adjustments and they've learned and they've grown significantly. I've never seen a team learn at an accelerated pace like this ever. I've never seen a young team go into the playoffs for the first time and beat the dethroning champions, make it to the finals while they're still in the middle of constructing the roster. We still need a power forward. And to be honest, we really don't even have a sharpshooter. So if we could get a consistent shooter as well, because what happens is it fluctuates. One player will shoot well, the other player will go cold, and then they'll flip positions the next game. They've been doing that the whole year. I'm happy. Like I've said a million times, we're in the process. We're young. Win or lose this series, I'm not really worried about it. And dare I even say, I thought that winning the championship this year too soon could actually be detrimental in the long run, because now they're saying that if the Spurs do win a championship this year, that Wembanyama is going to get even more money than if they had not made the finals, which may mean they may not be able to pay Castle and Harper in the future, which is, I don't want that. Hopefully Wemby will take a pay cut to keep those guys around. That's down the road. My point is, I'm not over here sweating. I didn't even expect them to get past OKC. This is gravy to me, as they say. This is house money. I'm just so happy that my team is in the finals. And if we lost to the Knicks, I wouldn't be upset about that. I've seen the desperation of Knicks fans. They have not even won a championship my entire lifetime. If they finally won with a team that is constructed like this. Now, had the Knicks ran out and got LeBron, Durant, and Luka or something, then I'd be pissed off and say that's cheap. Those are the things that piss me off. I don't get upset with well-constructed rosters winning big games. Like, I think the Timberwolves are well-constructed. OKC's well-constructed. These Knicks are well-constructed. So, no, I'm not butthurt, as so many of these people try to say. And what did I say? I said I thought the Spurs would win in how many? 7. So, what does that mean? That would indicate that the Spurs would lose a game this series. So, it doesn't mean that it's over just because I already said, I think they'll lose 3 games. They've already lost one.
But they could have won every game at home in order to win that.
Right, but that's the thing. They're going to they won 2 games in Minnesota. They won 2 games in OKC. They play well on the road, and Wemby, I think Wemby's going to shine at the Garden. I think he's going to light up like he's never been lit up before. That atmosphere is electric, and I expect Wemby to shine.
Could 100% happen, Gary. Could be true. He plays well there in the limited time sample size we've seen, but the Knicks will play well there too. Obviously, like that, and I think
I agree.
The Knicks look, they look less afraid of the moment than the Thunder. Like the Thunder just looked, the players looked, and they were missing guys, but some of the players on the Thunder team to me just looked afraid to even, like, they weren't even trying to challenge at the basket. The Knicks, look, they got turned away a couple times tonight, but they went at Wembanyama like throughout the night. So they don't look afraid of the moment or afraid to challenge them or whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in game 2. How competitive, I think the Spurs absolutely win that game, but it's going to be interesting to see how competitive the Knicks keep it, how close that is. All right, we've got Jared Meralt, 7457 is in next. Jared, what's up? Welcome in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Wants to know my thoughts on Brandon Roy. Man, one of the saddest stories in the NBA to me. One of the all-time woulda, coulda, shoulda's in NBA history. He's right up there with a whole slew of guys you can think of, right? Like Bill Walton. Bill Walton to me might be one of the biggest because, like, that, I think it was a 77 Trailblazers team that won with him. Like, he was so good. Bill Walton was so good. He was arguably like the greatest college basketball player ever. And then he won an NBA championship at an extremely young age. He had all kinds of lower body, foot injury stuff, never really materialized into what he truly could have become. And then all kinds of other guys, you know the list. Penny Hardaway, Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill. I mean, Gary, anybody you want to throw in on the list of woulda, coulda, shoulda's? I will say Blake Griffin is another one.
Greg Oden.
Recently,
did you say Greg Oden?
Even Yao Ming.
Yeah.
All kinds of players, but Brandon Roy is on the all-time list as well. Like, he's one of these all-timers of like what could have been. One Rookie of the Year, his first season, ascended to all-star status and scored like 19, 20 points per game by season 2. Then he was all-NBA by season 3. All-NBA second team, I think, season 3. All-NBA third team or second team again in season 4. So, and then that's it. Then literally, like, that's it. The wall comes, the injury comes, and it's just over. He played like 40, 45, 50 games in that following year, in year 5, and then that's it. Then he missed a whole year and then played only like under 10 games, and then he's done forever, like at the age of 27 or 28. So like one of the all-time sad stories in NBA history of like wasted potential of like injury, basically like what could have been for him. So very I love Brandon Roy. I thought he was a great young player, and sad that we got robbed of seeing what his true potential could have become. All right, Mind of the North Star is in next. Welcome into you, Mind of the North Star. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, your support here, for being here, and for your question or comment to further the conversation. His game wasn't flashy, but you can definitely win a ring when you have a guy like Josh Hart playing the way he did. Pure hustle tonight. The ultimate intangible guy. Josh Hart is just I mean, you said it. Like, he does all of the stuff. Like, all of the things you need someone to do on a championship caliber team, he does it all. So, and he also will hit shots, and he can win you games from time to time. Like, he won them a game last series against the Cavs. he had, I don't know, like 28, 29 points or something like that in one of those games. So just an excellently constructed team, I think. And they have basically all the things, all the pieces you really need to compete and win a championship. All right, we've got Gregory is back in. Gregory Lieber is back in. Gary bad with money. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he is or isn't. Gary doesn't strike me as much of a wagerer. I don't think he's much of a better of story. Gary is not a degenerate like me. I am a lifelong degenerate. I have been betting in some capacity on sports for a long time. I've retired at different stints of my life. I've taken long breaks and pauses from betting on sports here and there. But I started betting when I was in early high school. I had a bookie when I was like 16 in high school, and I've been betting ever since. So yeah, it's been a long run. So I definitely know a thing or two about the wagering industry. I don't think Gary likes to bet on things very much. Go ahead, Gary.
If you if you place your bet on DraftKings or FanDuel or Prize Picks or whatever, when you place that bet, you have to put forth the money straight up, and they take it. And if you win the bet, then they pay out. If you don't win the bet, then you just get nothing. You lost the money that you put up, correct?
If you're online betting, yes, you put the money up, then you get whatever the total payout is, which is factors in your return of your initial investment. And now bookie wise, that's not like that, Gary. Generally speaking, you do not put the money up front in a bookie situation. Generally speaking.
Okay, so that what I said earlier was referring to if you put money forth for who you thought was going to win this series before the series started, you are locked in and you can't go and change your pick, but you can add a separate betting. That's what you were saying, right? That you would put a second bet. But that's what I meant. And everyone said I was dumb. I'm saying when you place your bet, you can't change that bet. You can add an addition. You can add an additional pick.
The same outcome, though, Gary. Yes.
No, that's fine. Okay, and that is fine. But I'm just saying. But I'm saying I can't put a second pick here. I've already put my pick in. I can't add a second pick.
There's no rules, Gary. That's why I asked you. That 10 minutes into the show, an hour.
No, you asked me, do I want to flip? That's not flipping a pick. That's putting a second additional pick. That's different. And I wouldn't want to flip anyways. No rules
here. In Skap Live After Dark, Gary, you can change your pick right now if you want to.
No, because I already said this. I already said the Knicks are a better team, but we're going to make some adjustments. We will be better by the end of this series than we were going into game one because we've done the same thing every round, even against Portland. We were better at the end of that series than at the start of it. Look at the trouble Minnesota gave us at the beginning, and then look how easily we solved that through coaching and adjustments and the brilliant defensive mind of Coach Sweeney, who's going to Orlando, and I believe was a great hire. I believe Orlando is going to be good with him. I think that dude's got head coach potential. So, I'm not switching anything. I'm not guaranteeing they're going to win. I never thought they were going to get this far in the first place. As I said, we still need a power forward. We're going to be better. That's what you bandwagon front-running fickle fans don't understand. You only look at what's right in front of you right here for the long haul. I'm talking about the Spurs as a Spurs fan. Most of you don't care about the Spurs either way. I'm talking from the perspective of a long-term Spurs fan. I'm looking at the big picture, not just how we're doing right now. I'm just excited that we beat OKC, and I did not think we were going to do that this year.
That, Gary, again, and that's all fine and well. Nothing you said is wrong. The Spurs are way ahead of schedule. They have plenty of opportunities down the line to get much better and win. But with that said, they had the best net rated team in the NBA by nearly 3 points in the post All-Star run. So they had the best record. They were by far the best team, by far, in the second half of the year. And they had the best team in the playoffs. other than the Knicks. But they're right there with the Knicks. Them and the Knicks are the two best teams in the playoffs. So, and they've got Wembanyama. So, like, everything you said is right, but they absolutely could win this year. And they are favored heavily in the finals right now. So to just sit back and say, like, oh, well, they didn't really have a chance because they're so young and we're not complete on this. It's not true, though. That's not true. They were the best. They are right now, Gary, to me, the best team in the league. But maybe they're not. Maybe the experience thing, which is why neither of us liked them initially against the Thunder. Maybe it didn't get them against the Thunder, but it gets them against the Knicks, and that's what it is that gets them.
We're definitely not the best team. The thing is, when Wemby plays really well, it's hard for other teams to beat us. We do not have a power forward. I am telling you, wait and look at how we're going to look.
Game 7, though.
What's that?
He didn't play very well in Game 7.
Right. They did play very well as a team, but they don't do that consistently. The team is very, very, very inconsistent. And we've made it to the finals without our power forward and without experience. We are only going to get better.
I mean, Victor Wembanyama had 22 points on 7 of 15, 7 rebounds, and 1 block in Game 7. Like, not a great game, but they basically commanded that game from start to finish on the road in Oklahoma City. Like, that's pretty impressive. But I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with it, but they absolutely can. And look, you're not gonna say that at 100%. You're not gonna say Wembanyama choked or Wembanyama's trash or whatever if they lose this series. No way anyone's gonna say that. No way. But with that said, though, like, you got to win. Like, you got to capitalize on moments that you have if you want to be like the greatest ever. Like, if you really think he's chasing Michael Jordan, which isn't necessarily a terrible take. Like, he's this good at 22, but like, you got to capitalize. And look, Jordan didn't win his first championship, I think, till he was 27. So even if Wemby loses this series, if he comes back and wins next season, he's still way ahead of what Michael Jordan did on Michael Jordan's timeline. But with that said, like, when you get this close to it and you're vying for all-time status, like, you want to capitalize on every opportunity that you have. So, like, but I understand what you're saying. And I'm not giving you pushback on. I'm just saying, if I were a Spurs fan going into this series, after seeing what I saw against the Thunder, I'd be feeling pretty confident in this series against the Knicks. Stefan is in. Stefan Piscano, good friend to the show, as always. Always here in the comments. Always here in these live streams. Always here in general for me. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you, yes, for your ongoing, continued, generous donations here. I appreciate you, as always. Shout out to you. Shout out to Vacation Wealth Partners. I got to say it every time, of course. Gary, what is the question or comment from Stefan tonight to accompany this very generous donation?
Super weird. Logged on right when y'all are discussing the gambling Eagles scenario. What you're describing is called a hedge in the gambling world, and I did it tonight and crushed it.
Yeah, you also hear about these crazy, like, I see all these things on the interwebs from time to time, these insane, huge parlays. Gary, a parlay is when you bet on multiple events.
I know what it is. And they all have to win every one. If you bet a 5-bet parlay, you hit on 4 but miss 1, you lose the entire thing.
Right. So I see all of these crazy parlays, like 10-team parlays or something, that are like one away from hitting. It's like they've hit 9 games, and Monday night and the Monday night football game is the one game that's left. And, they win, they turn their whatever, $50 or $10 bet into like $70,000 if they get that one final game, and they'll bet whatever, like 20 grand on the other team, basically, just to so basically they bet 20 grand against them as a hedge to basically they get something, even if they lose that one. So that would be another example of a hedge. But yeah, I mean, and look, I do it sometimes like in fantasy football. If I have like a big fantasy football game or something like that, I'll bet on like the players that I'm playing against or something to have a big, just so like, I have, some hedge in the fight essentially. So yeah, I guess, Gary, look, I'm a pure gambler. So like my mind works more like a gambler, I guess. So yeah, I don't have any qualms with doing a flip flop early on.
I didn't say there's anything wrong with adding an additional pick if you look like you're losing your bet and you want to place a second to pad yourself. That's fine. I was just merely trying to confirm that when you place one bet online, you can't, in the middle after the game has started, you can't just go back and alter it. You have to stay locked in. You can add an additional bet and switch teams on the additional bet, but the initial bet that you laid down, you can't just change that once the game has started. That's what I was getting at. Correct?
That is correct, Gary, but I would certainly place the other bet on the same outcome, only on a different team, rather than just eat the loss.
And that's fine.
If it looks like I'm going to lose the game or lose my bet, that was my point, I guess. All right. We did this great 26 Mr. WrestleMania. We did that one already. I did the incorruptible again. And then I did, oh wait, here we go. But I'm here for, okay. So this was to piggyback. Legaslit calling Skap brawnish wasn't on my bingo. However, I'm here for it. Separated at birth. Yeah, you could barely tell. You could barely tell the difference, I think, right? All right, 26 Mr. WrestleMania is back in asking Brunson or Willis Reed. That's a close one, actually. We'll see. Get back to me at the end of the series. If the Knicks win this series, then I would say Brunson probably, but can't say Brunson over Willis Reed until it happens, because Willis Reed won that championship when he limped onto the floor and played whatever a couple minutes in Game 7 against, I believe it was the Lakers. They're in 73, their last championship. So for now, it's Willis Reed. Get back to me in like a week and a half, and we'll see what Brunson has done from that point on. Dizzy James 2K is in next. What's up, Dizzy James, and welcome into you. The Spurs lost Game 1 to the Timberwolves. Spurs in 7 still. They sure did. And then the Thunder lost Game 1 to the Spurs and then ultimately still lost that series. But they did get it back into a Game 7. So, yeah, I mean, look, the Spurs, and look, the common thread in that Minnesota series was that Wemby played like trash in that first game. That was his worst game of the playoffs until maybe he had one real bad game against the Thunder, and then he had tonight. Like, those are his bad games. So, like, he bounced back in a major way against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, absolutely. If they bounce back again, if he bounces back and they bounce back moving forward again, and look, if Brunson's legs all hobbled and jacked up, absolutely, that the Spurs can still win this series. Not discounting that can happen. Absolutely. I just did my flip, but I will now go down with the Knicks now. The rest of the way, I will not flip-flop again. So I hold to just one flip-flop. So we'll see. I'll see how it plays out. But yeah, the Spurs can absolutely still win this thing. Not definitely, Dizzy. I'm not saying that they can't. All right, we've got the Godson 7156. What's up, Godson? Welcome into you. I don't see a question or comment to accompany this donation. So thank you very much for the support. I appreciate you being here and supporting us. Thank you very much. If you do have a question, just let Gary know in the main thread. I will read this next one while he keeps an eye on it. Meanwhile, the Incorruptible says, are Brunson and Ron Harp? Okay, so Rick Brunson and Ron Harper are GOAT dads, raised ballers. Yeah, I'd say. I mean, they actually have good sons, unlike LeBron, who has his scrub son, Bronny. Rick and Ron raised a couple of great NBA studs that are obviously exceeding them. Both of them played in the NBA. Ron Harper was actually a stud. We'll see. But Dylan Harper is on the fast track, I think, to being better than Pops. Though Ron Harper had a couple of great years, a couple near 20-point per game years, maybe a couple years in the 20-point per game range before he went to Chicago and kind of sacrificed that element and was more of just a defensive player. Actually, I do want to just check that out and see. Yeah, he had a couple years, 22, 20, 23, 22, 23 points per game in 3 straight years and another 20-point per game season. So, yeah, he was actually a pretty upper echelon. Hey, he scored 23 points per game as a rookie in 1986-87. So, pretty damn good year. He played all 82 games in 1986-87 as a rook, and he was second that year in Rookie of the Year voting. And of course, the Rookie of the Year that year actually was Chuck Person, who, I mean, say what you want about this. I mean, 18.8 points per game. He did average 8 rebounds too, but obviously that could have went either way in my estimation for Rookie of the Year that season. So yeah, Ron Harper was a baller for sure back in his day. And then of course, famously won some chips with Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And then Rick Brunson played 9 years, I believe, in the NBA, but was never anything like spectacular. Not like Jalen, obviously. All right, we've got the real Donald Trump coming in, of course, from Canada. Welcome in, Mr. President. As always, thanks for being here and supporting us on Skap Live After Dark. I do appreciate it. Too many three-pointers for both teams. Ugly basketball. Harper needs more minutes as he's one of the few guys who attacks the rim. Yeah, I mean, he played a good amount. I think he played 26 minutes-ish tonight, 28 minutes he played tonight. So that's a good amount off the bench. I mean, Castle played 34. Vassell played 36. Champagny played 31. So, yeah, I mean, he's the only guy that got logged substantial minutes off the bench. I'm still trying to figure out Keldon Johnson. Only 8, the 6th man of the year. Only 8 minutes tonight. I don't understand that. So we'll see if he gets more time in game 2 or not. I'm not sure what the problem is there. If Johnson didn't like the matchup, if Mitch Johnson didn't like the matchup, or if he's banged up or something, I don't know. But I'd be interested to see what his usage looks like moving into that next game 2 on Friday. Booge got that beam is up next. Welcome back in to the show, Booge. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you as always. Gary, what does Booge have with his very generous donation here?
I still think the Spurs are going to win this series. Just got comfortable down the last quarter. Knicks ain't beaten them 4 times. They should not have won tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this game could have went either way. Neither team played particularly well, I didn't think. The Knicks shot only 41% from the field. They scored only 105. They were on an absolute hot streak coming in, but the Spurs defense is way better than any defense they've seen to this point. But the Spurs defense, or the Spurs offense, looked completely terrible and out of sync tonight. 36% from the field and only 95 points. I can't say they're rusty. Maybe they just had a hangover from a very emotional win in game 7. We'll see. I think we'll learn a lot on in game 2. I think the Spurs are going to win, but how? How do they win? Do they win 102-95, or do they win like 126 to 100 or something? Like, do the Spurs obliterate them and get it clicking on offense, or is it a hard-fought, defensively oriented game and they barely break 100 again? Like, if that's the way it goes, then I'm going to be feeling extra confident in the New York Knicks' chances. If the Spurs get on track and blow them to pieces and score a ton of points, then yeah, I feel like, okay, like the Spurs have figured it out. That was an outlier, random game 1 kind of thing, and we'll go from there now the rest of the way through the series and see what happens. But I'd say the Spurs would be feeling pretty good if they come out and make a strong statement into game 2. Booge is back in yet again. Thank you, sir. We'll do back-to-back from you. Spurs just beat themselves, up 14 with Wembanyama out way too long. Yeah, I mean, you could say, yeah, they were up. Like I said, they were up 30. I thought it was 13, but maybe 14 was the big lead. Gary, can you confirm whether it was 13 or 14? Do you know off the top of your head? You don't have to look, but
I think I do remember them being up 14.
okay. So 14-point lead. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. The Spurs certainly looked better. Look, the Knicks came out pretty hot early on. They looked good for like the first 8 minutes of the first quarter. And then basically from that point till late third, the Spurs had it in control. So we'll see. They're not going to sweat, obviously. Again, they were down 1-0 to Minnesota. They were down 3-2 to the Thunder. So they're not going to sweat here at all. And they're more than capable of winning 4 out of the next 6 games. So it's not over by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we are going to learn a lot in game 2. All right. Massive Dumper. Wow, look at that. What a name. Massive Dumper. How about those Knicks? Flair for the dramatic. Yeah, Massive Dumper. They sure did have a flair for the dramatic. And they have had a flair for the dramatic this entire postseason. So it's going to be certainly interesting to see how and where the series goes from here. I can't wait till Monday for game 3 in the Garden. I think that is going to be an electric, special atmosphere. I say that I watch most of these games with mute on. I will likely have the volume on in that one just to hear the energy that is in the Garden there for game 3 and game 4 for that matter. Who knows where? Look, if the Knicks want to win this series, they got to win. To me, they got to win both those games, I think. So they have to win both the games in the Garden. Unless, look, if they go up 2-0, which I don't think they will on Friday, but if they do, then the Knicks can afford to lose, I guess, one of the 2 games in the Garden and be up 3-1. But if it's 1-1 going back to New York, I think they got to win both if they want to win the series. So we'll see. Cusmo Jimbo is still here and still celebrating. I'm sure a big win by his Knicks. As much as I appreciate Josh Hart for getting that critical steal late, we really need him to get going offensively and hit more open shots. Nobody really shot well tonight for anybody on any team. I mean, maybe look, Cat was 7 of 15. OG Anunoby was 5 of 12. Miguel Bridges, 3 of 12. I guess a bunch of guys did shoot over 50%. Landry Shamet was 5 of 9. Basically, the Knicks shot well other than Brunson. Like all the Knicks shot well, essentially, other than Brunson. So I guess they actually did shoot fairly well. Nobody, though, shot well, really by and large, for the San Antonio Spurs. And at 36%, you would expect them to be much better moving forward. But Cusmo Jimbo, don't get too greedy. Come on. Hart does so much. He brings so much to that team. He does so much of the little things. I feel like he'll get you a game. He'll be on at least 2 of these next couple games. Like 2 of these next 3 or 4 games, he'll be better shooting. I can almost guarantee it. All right, we've got Coach. Is that an S or no? Coach 125. What's up, Coach 125? Welcome into you. 12 straight wins. Brunson the GOAT. 3 more wins. Knicks in 5. I don't know. That seems very very optimistic, I would say. Even after such a great win as they had tonight in game 1, I still believe this is going to be a long series. I think 6 at the earliest. But we'll see. Like I said, we'll see a lot. We'll learn a lot, I think, in game 6 in game 2 to be played on Friday. I guess it's going to be, let me check, 8:30. And then the Monday game they're all at 8:30. So the Monday and Wednesday games in the Garden are both also 8:30. So all these games at 8:30, which means we'll be coming on around 11:15, basically the rest of the way. Okay, we've got Sarah Jiang is in. Sarah, what's up? Again, I don't want to be welcoming again, Sarah. Thanks for being here. Again, I don't want to be over presumptuous about anyone's gender or what they might identify as in the Lord's year of 2026. But I would guess with Sarah's avatar there and Sarah's handle that Sarah is in fact a lady. So welcome in, because I have an underrepresented female audience, only about 5 to 6% of Skap viewers, which is just criminal. I think we need more ladies here in Skap Live After Dark and on the channel and the platform in general. So Sarah, shout out to you. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for sliding into the sponsor area as well. I appreciate you very much. Hopefully you're still here. You sent this about an hour ago. Skap, who would you choose to be your best friend? Rich Paul or Nick Wright, and why? Well, Sarah, I really don't see a bestie in my future being either of these two. I don't think either of them would really care for me very much. If I had to pick one of the two, though, it would probably be Nick Wright, I guess, just because Rich would probably be trying to get me on the Clutch payroll, like and persuade me to take the Clutch cash and sacrifice my morals to get on Team LeBron and become a jock sniffer and a bootlicker. And I'm sure Rich could throw a hefty payday my way. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I wouldn't be tempted. So I don't even want to put the temptation in my pathway. I got to keep Rich off my shoulder, the devil on my shoulder. And I would probably pair up with Nick Wright. He and I could at least make some good videos if we were best friends, debating and arguing with each other about his various putrid ass takes. So, Sarah, maybe I guess Nick Wright would be the answer. And hopefully that was a good enough explanation as to why it is. But Sarah, again, thank you very much for being here. And thank you very much for supporting Skap Live After Dark. We've got Jonathan McDowell, 7590. What's up, Jonathan? Salute to you. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. I saw the troll and you didn't miss much, but the Spurs DJ played some. Oh, okay. This is in I guess following up on the troll, the troll job that we heard about earlier, the music that was played, I guess, by the Spurs. So Jonathan said he saw the troll and we didn't miss much, but the Spurs DJ played some kitsch Afro circus type of music while they were announcing the Knicks starters. Okay, I don't really know what those words, what that combination of things means about the music. I'm not sure what it means, Jonathan, but thank you for chiming in and for letting me know that we didn't miss much. It was kind of like the guy that ran on for the selfie. We didn't miss much because he was ushered immediately off the floor. We've got Rob Sports Cards is in next. Compare NY under Brown this year and NY under Tibbs. I mean, I honestly like Tom Thibodeau quite a bit. Like, I really like and respect Tom Thibodeau. And I've always respected him as a coach. I'm pretty sure he was the defensive coordinator, if you will, on the Celtics teams, which were elite defensive teams that gave Kobe Bryant fits back in those 07-08 series. I want to say he was on that staff. So I've thought a lot of Tom Thibodeau ever since. Look, the Knicks went far last year. They got into the Eastern Conference Finals, and they lost to the Pacers in 6 games. So these teams, look, Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, Landry Shamet, basically the same exact team as last year. And Brunson had a great series last year. Look, sometimes you just come up against a team that is on a roll, that is on a run, and it's just not meant to be for you. And I think last year, look, the Knicks are that team this year. The Knicks are that team that's on a roll, that's on a run, and it's meant to be. Last year, that team was the Indiana Pacers. So they just ran up against a team I thought that was just hot at the time, and it was just their time to get there. And the Pacers, look, they were up 2-0 last year in that series. They won both of them in New York, though. So horrible losses, of course. Then the Knicks came back, won 1 on the road. Then it was 3-1. The Knicks then came back and staved off elimination at home and then ultimately lost badly in Game 6. But It was just, look, that it was really game one. The Pacers beat them 138, 135. That's crazy. The fact that the Pacers put up 138 on them there was one overtime. So there was one overtime, but still, they put up 125 in regulation. Like, this defense, despite the fact Thibodeau is known for his defensive prowess, the defense is playing at a much, much higher rate right now than they were last year. But Mike Brown, shout out to him. He's done a great job. I think he's cemented himself as a great coach in the NBA today, ultimately. All right, we've got Red Rock 2054. I'm sorry, Ed Rock. Ed Rock 2054 is in. Ed, what's up, brother? Welcome to the party, my friend. Thank you for joining the show, for supporting us here, and for your kind, generous donation. Gary, what does Ed have in terms of a question or comment?
This could be like the 76ers versus Lakers in 2001, when they won game one, then proceeded to lose all the rest of the games. Brunson reminds me of AI a little bit. Wemby should adopt the skyhook.
I don't think anything's going to be easy the rest of the way for either of these teams. Like, it's not like the Knicks are going to sweep them now. And it's not like, I don't think that it's going to be like the Spurs are just going to beat them 4 straight now. I think it's either going to be 6 or 7. I think it's going to be a long series to come still from this, and it can still absolutely go either way. The Knicks haven't faced adversity really all playoff run. They were down 2-1 to the Hawks, but the 2 1-point losses, and then they absolutely destroyed them the other 3 games. They haven't really even been in close games otherwise. The Spurs have had their backs against the wall a couple times. 1-0 isn't the backs against the wall, but they were here just 2 series ago. Look, they lost Wembanyama to a concussion in the first round, and they were 1-1, I think, in that series. I think they lost game 2 in that series to go 1-1 in that one. So they've lost games, and they've had to respond, and they have answered the bell at every turn. So, and I think this is not, the Knicks are not. I think the Thunder were the best team that they saw, and they ultimately had the ultimate answer for the Thunder and beat them. So we'll see where the Spurs go from here. Either way, whatever team is going to win it from here, Ed, I think they're going to really have to earn it. And Brunson, yeah, he's got that dog in him. He's a smaller player, not as small as AI, but a smaller player. And yeah, I can see the analogy. He's a little bit more of a volume shooter, though he's been efficient at times. Like, I think he's shooting 48, 49% in these playoffs coming in, which is obviously a very solid shooting percentage for a guy that takes the kind of shots that he takes. Tonight, it ain't it. 37, 38% or whatever. He's going to have to be better than that moving forward, I think. And because I know Wemby will be better moving forward. So Brunson better also find a way to be better. And then if Wemby adopts the skyhook, Ed, he's probably unstoppable. So that if he does that, if he wants to work on that, maybe he will win 6, 7 championships then, because that's going to be an unstoppable move for a guy that adds so much defensively. Cusmo Jimbo back in yet again. True or false? Mike Brown moves above Doc Rivers all-time greatest NBA coaches if the Knicks win the NBA Finals this year. Epic series so far, Gary 100. Yeah, true. Yeah, I would put Mike Brown above Doc Rivers all-time if he wins this series. I mean, Doc Rivers only has 1 championship himself with that too big to fail team in 2007 that with Paul Pierce, added Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. And Kevin Garnett was like still MVP caliber KG. Like, he was elite defense KG kind of guy still at that point of his career. And that team was just, I thought, a great defense, too big to fail. And yet Doc Rivers did fail 2 years later in the rematch with that Lakers team. And that was the only championship Doc ever got. More blown 3-1 leads than any guy ever. More blown 3-2 leads than any guy ever. More potential closeout games blown than anybody ever. He's just an all-time bum of a coach, in my estimation, Doc Rivers. He's got a lot of wins. Congratulations. Google him, as he would tell his teammates or his players. apparently sources close to the situation, so players that were in the meeting, was as they were getting chastised by Doc late in the season, saying, yeah, I thought, I'm a winner. Google me. I thought I was going to do it again, but it's not my fault. It's your guys' fault. That was basically the pep talk that he gave his Buck squad on his way out this year. So just an all-time bum of a coach in my estimation. I'm still sick to my stomach that he got his one and only ring at Kobe's expense. So, yes, I would say true. Kuzmo Jimbo. Mike Brown does move ahead of Doc if he wins this series. Hell, he might move ahead of Doc even if he doesn't win the series. Sarah is back in. Oh boy. Sarah has now followed up, which is crazy. Actually, I don't think she knew. No, because she sent this at 12:21 and it's 1:30. So she wouldn't know that. I think she asked the question about who I would want my best friend to be. She did, whether it would be Rich Paul or Nick Wright and why. And then she just followed up without even hearing my answer to that question, of which I talked heavily about not wanting to promote LeBron as the GOAT, and Rich would apply the pressure. But somehow she followed up without even hearing that answer. How much money would it take for me to promote LeBron as the GOAT? Gosh. Sarah, I don't know. It would just look so bad because I'm like one of the foremost, leading voices against LeBron. I am like known around the interwebs. I don't have that big of a following. I have 96,000 subscribers right now. So and it's been 90-ish for 6 months now. I felt like I was going to hit 1,000 and just blow right over it. But I've been trapped in the 90s for 6 or 7 months now. But 100,000 people subscribe to me. I'd say way more than that know of me at this point. And I am a well-known proponent of against LeBron. So for me to go against that, it would just make me look so bad. And to go from, he's barely 10, he's somewhere between 9 to 12 on my all-time list right now. To go from that to number 1 and move him above Kobe and Jordan. I mean, one of the things that will probably be on my tombstone is Kobe greater sign LeBron. I don't know how I can recover or save face in doing, especially because LeBron is so close to the end. There's nothing else he can do. What's he going to do now? Go three-peat at 43 or whatever, and be the best player on the floor when he's doing it. If he does that, okay. But he's not. He's probably gonna go either stay with the Lakers and lose in the first or second round and then retire, or go to the Cavs maybe and play 2 years and lose in the first or second round. What new evidence, Sarah, could I take in and be well, now I know I've said, because with Tom Brady, for over a decade, I was leading the Peyton Manning charge. And I was Peyton Manning is better than Tom Brady, period. If you exchange Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and give Peyton Manning Tom's defenses and Belichick, he would be just as successful. But then I saw the back-to-back Super Bowls against the Seahawks, where Peyton Manning, again, I talked about this Super Bowl earlier in the show. Peyton Manning lost, I believe it was 43-8 against the Legion of Boom defense. And then the very next season, Tom Brady played that same exact Seattle Seahawks team in the Super Bowl. And yes, okay, Pete Carroll should have handed the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. And if he did, instead of calling a slant on the 1 yard line, which was picked off by, I think, Malcolm Butler, then obviously the Seahawks win that game and Brady loses to that team too. However, win or lose, Tom Brady had 450 yards passing in that game and 3 or 4 touchdowns. And in the fourth quarter of that game, needing to come all the way back, they were down 2 touchdowns in that fourth quarter. Brady was 11 of 13, 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter against that Legion of Boom defense to bring his team all the way back. A year after I saw Peyton Manning look as bad as a human being can look and play quarterback against the same defense. At that point, when Tommy Brady, the GOAT of GOATs, in my opinion now, when Tommy won that game to win his 4th Super Bowl, by the way, I said, okay, now I've seen enough. I have been wrong for the last 12 or 13 years. I got to reverse. Clearly, Brady's better than Manning. Clearly, I was wrong. Not only is he better than Brady, he's probably the GOAT. Probably, I said at that point. Then the very next year, he went and won. I think it was maybe it was the year after. That was the 28-3 comeback against the Falcons in the Super Bowl with like James White as his star receiver in that game coming out of the backfield. And then, I don't know, some converted lacrosse player from college and Danny Amendola. Like Brady came back from 28-3 in the late 3rd to win a 5th Super Bowl with those receivers, James White, Danny Amendola, and I'm forgetting the lacrosse player that was the other guy, their other receiver. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, he's easily the greatest player of all, easily. And then, another 2 Super Bowls after that, including at the age of 41, when he left New England and went to the losingest franchise in the league at that point. So there was things that Tommy could do, Sarah, to like he could add to what he was doing and make me change my mind. What am I supposed to say at this point? Like, oh, well, next year when LeBron gets swept in the 1st round, now he's the GOAT. Like, Sarah, I realistically don't know. That's why I'm stalling here in trying to come up with an answer. But there is obviously, I will say this, Sarah, there is a figure for everybody. Like, no matter, and I really do firmly believe this. I had this idea for a show, guys, that was called Breaking Point, where you have 3 people on a stage bidding against each other to do certain tasks. So like a crazy task is brought up, and then the 3 contestants will bid against each other to determine who would go the lowest and accept the least amount of money to do this insane task. And it would be called Breaking Point because everybody has a figure. And I really do firmly believe that. You will get people in your friend group or in your inner circle, your close friend circle, that will say, no, I wouldn't do that. I would never do that. I've got too much whatever. I've got too much self-respect, too much dignity, fill in the blank. Let me assure you, Sarah, there is a price for everybody to do anything. Now, other than I could never kill an animal. That's the one thing I can never do. No figure would, or anything overtly illegal. Like obviously kill any person either or whatever. Like I couldn't do anything overtly illegal or that harms anybody else. But other than that, there is a price on everything for everybody. So of course, Sarah, if Rich came to my front door, Rich Paul, and said, Skap Attack, here's like, I'm just pulling some crazy number out, $25 million. Like you got to go on your platform and start promoting LeBron as the GOAT. Like, obviously I would probably have to do that. $25 million, but like, that's an outrageous number. I don't know exactly, Sarah, what the figure would be, but it would have to be some insane number. And then even at that point, I don't even know. So I don't know what my breaking point is though. How low would it be? Look, $1 million is a lot of money. Like $2 million, $5 million. Like that's a lot of money. How low would I go, Sarah, is the question to be able to say it. I don't know, but guys, I'll tell the 700 people that are still on here right now, I'll tell you this. If ever a time comes where I am promoting LeBron as the GOAT, you will know that I've just gotten paid off. You will know that I do not believe a single word of what I'm saying. And Rich and Clutch just threw some insane, crazy number at me that was just, as the Godfather said, an offer that I couldn't refuse. Like, you'll know that I'm just completely do not believe a single word that I'm saying. Great question, Sarah. Sorry to go so long on that, but it is a compelling question. John Highfill, 1909. Is back in yet again. Welcome into you, John. Gary, since I just talked for like 25 minutes on that one, I'll turn this one over to you to read for us.
Former Clutch Player of the Year strikes again. Brunson at 6'1" is something else. However, honestly, for the first 40 minutes, neither he nor Wemby shot well.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Brunson. He was fantastic down the stretch. He was extraordinarily clutch. He got to his spots down the fourth quarter stretch. He shot 5 of 9 in the fourth quarter. Nothing to say, but tip the cap. Great game. But like, he was not good in the first 3 quarters. So which Brunson is it going to be moving forward? Like, I don't think the Spurs are going to score 95 points and shoot 36% the rest of the way. So like, Brunson's going to have to be a lot better moving forward if they're going to actually win this series, which of course I flip-flopped into saying that they will. All right, we've got Ruckett 2424 is in next. What's up, Ruckett? Thank you for being here. Welcome in. I appreciate it. Thank you for your kind and generous donation. Gary, what is the question or comment here?
Hey, Skap, I love the show. I asked you last winter what you thought about the Hornets, and you said we at least had a good announcer, LOL. How do you see the Hornets now and moving forward, though?
I was very disappointed with the way they went out, honestly. I thought the Hornets were not only going to make the playoffs after the stretch that I saw, like, before the All-Star break, quite frankly. It was like maybe after like their first like 30 games. I thought they were one of the best teams in the NBA, quite frankly. They laid an egg in the play-in. I was very disappointed that they did not get in. I thought they could have made some noise in the postseason. So disappointing, underwhelming end to their season, but a fantastic year overall. I think they're a great young team. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference next year. They should be maybe a top 4, maybe the 5th seed. I would think they're going to be in contention for a 4 seed line, like home court advantage in the first round of the NBA playoffs next year. So the future is bright. They're extraordinarily young. We'll see what they want to do in the offseason, see if they want to maybe add a veteran or whatever. But I think the Hornets their future looks as good, Ruckett, as it has ever looked. So at least in my lifetime. Congratulations. And, I'll be looking forward to watching. They're a fun, exciting young team, and they play defense as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Let me just see. I do want to just see what their books look like. I would imagine not bad, because they've got a bunch of guys on young contract, on smaller contracts. $148 million committed next year, with basically their whole roster secured, other than Kobe White. Kobe White was on a $13 million expiring deal this year. Other than that, they've got everybody under contract next year, and they're still $50+ million under cap. So they're probably going to renew Brandon Miller on a big deal. He has a team option next year at $15 million. So probably this summer they'll pay him, but he'll play out on 15, and then his extension will kick in 2027, 2028, more than likely. So they're going to have $50 million to play with in free agency. LaMelo Ball is their highest paid player, $40 million a year is what he's made roughly. He $40 million next year, 43, then 46. Other than that, Miles Bridges at 22, Brandon Miller at 15, Knipple at 10, and Knipple's on a small contract for years because he was just a rookie, obviously. So a really reasonable looking financial situation going on for them too. So congrats, Ruckett. Enjoy it. They are going to be a really fun up and coming team to watch, I think, next year. Rob Sports Cards comes back in next. What's with boy Whitlock hating on Wemby like he is some foreign movie villain? I think he has Wemby mixed up with Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. Ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know, Gary. Did you see today's show by any chance or not?
No,
I got into it today with Whitlock and Dre. I got piled on because, Whitlock started his A Block solo with why he's rooting for Brunson and the Knicks and why he thinks they're such a great story. And I kind of went and defended Wembanyama as soon as I got on. Then I also said that Brunson is kind of getting to overrated status now. No hate on Brunson, guys. I don't want to go there either. But all I said was, to me, the primary story for me is the Knicks team, the team. Because like Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby are playing fantastic right now. The things Hart does, Mikal Bridges, the fact that their defense is one of the major stories. So I got absolutely just beat down on by Dre and Whitlock. They just teamed up on me and went at me for like 15, 20 minutes. Whitlock texted me tonight immediately following the game, and we were continuing to mix it up. He said, "Glad Cat carried Brunson tonight. You were right." So then like I started mixing it back up with him, and then he said, "I'm obsessed with analytics. Watch the game." And then I said basically the story was Wemby struggled and the defense they did. And he then ripped on Wemby and his 3-point shooting, standing by the 3-point line. So I'm sure I'm walking into a buzzsaw tomorrow on Fearless. So you guys should tune in. 11 o'clock on the Eastern. They come out of Central. They air at like 10 a.m. Central or whatever the time zone is that is in Nashville. But you guys should check out Fearless. 11 a.m. on the East Coast of the US of A. Go on to Whitlock's thing. You'll see whenever it's supposed to come on. He puts it up a little bit before, but I'm sure I'm going to get attacked by Whitlock immediately. He might not even do his solo A block lead-in. He might just show up tomorrow, do like 3 or 4 minutes to set the stage, and then bring me in as a pinata for him and Dre to beat upon me, in which I will be standing my ground and talking about the New York Knicks team defense. But I will be giving credit to Jalen Brunson as well for a very clutch performance down the stretch. But again, 12 of 31, 30 points, 31 shot attempts, like very definition of volume. And I said on the show today, Brunson will get his numbers, but on volume, that he's going to be in the low 40s, whatever, upper 30s. And again, they pushed back on me on that, but that's exactly what happened tonight. However, the defense held them close enough that it didn't, and that they gave Brunson the opportunity to be clutch down the stretch, because he wouldn't have had that opportunity if the Spurs scored 125 points. They would have got blown off the court. But the team defense of the Knicks gave him the opportunity, gave him the stage, the platform to have that clutch performance. All right, Cusmo Jimbo back in yet again. Shout out Leon Rose, second best executive to Sam Presti. Well, he's got to be Cuse mode with the ownership that you guys have there. He's got to be good. So yes, shout out to him. It makes him look even better because ownership is so lousy. So you're absolutely right with that. We've got Uncle Rico's Revenge up next. Love the handle, by the way. I know I've said it before, but thank you for coming back in. David Thompson is woulda, coulda, shoulda. True. David Thompson is another one. Again, there's several that you can add. You can go down, Len Bias. You can go down the list of guys in NBA history that like could have been substantially better if some unfortunate or tragic injury or whatever didn't befall them. So yes, I agree. I agree with you on that one. Uncle Rico's Revenge. We've got Will N8664 is back in. I feel like Jimmy Butler would have loved this version of Cat when they were both on the Wolves. Yes, agreed. Exactly. Karl Anthony Towns, he's really playing great defense, honestly, in this postseason. He really is. And he played a really good game. I thought I was completely wrong. I thought OG Anunoby would draw that assignment and they would play Cat on the weak side. Cat took the challenge tonight, and he played a really good game on Victor Wembanyama. Really made him earn it. Those 26 points on 6 of 21 shooting. John Highfill 1909 is back in. Cat ain't Chet. He wants his damn respect. I agree. I mean, Cat out here getting made fun of, looking zesty as hell half the time. People always calling him out on that front. Cat he's been fantastic this postseason. He really has. And he does need his damn respect, John. I think he likely will get it if the Knicks are to win this series. Look, I said I thought Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby would be more important than Brunson if they were to win this series. Brunson obviously was the guy, the finisher, the clutch shot maker down the stretch. Take nothing away from Jalen Brunson. But like, again, if Karl Anthony Towns is putting this level of defense on Victor Wembanyama through the series while. Oh, he had like 18 points and 12 rebounds tonight too. 18 and 12 and 4 assists. More assists than Jalen Brunson had, only 2. So like, I feel like Karl-Anthony Towns was the MVP of the game. Like Brunson hit the shots down the stretch, sure. But again, if they're going to win, and if Karl-Anthony Towns is putting this level of defense on Wemby the rest of the way and putting up 18 and 12 or whatever on the way to do it, like I feel like that is probably the MVP of the series, but we'll see. I mean, probably Brunson will get the votes, I think, and would probably win it if he continues to do this, even at the volume that he displayed tonight. All right, I've got Vivid Sid 94 is in next. Thank you, Vivid Sid. And Xavier is in now as well next. So we know Xavier can drop a bunch of these comments pretty quickly. But we'll start with Sid. Gary, I'll turn this one over to you and give my voice a little rest. What does Sid have this time for us?
Skap, pick a 3-on-3 winner if your life depended on it. LeBron, Harden, and Chet versus Kobe, Smush Parker, and Devin George. High stakes match for them, by the way.
Oh boy, if my life depends on it, I don't even have a big. Chet Holmgren's like 7'2", and I don't even have a big. I got 6'6" Kobe, 6'2" Smush Parker, and maybe what's Devin George, like 6'7" and Chet and Harden or Chet and LeBron are both really good defenders. I don't know. My life depends on it. I mean, it's hard to pick against the Black Mamba. Gary, if you had to bet on my life in this game, what would you do?
Absolutely 1,000,000% LeBron, Harden, and Chet, no doubt. They win. They blow this team. That's not. You gotta give Kobe somebody to work with. LeBron. Why don't you? How about this? How about life depends on LeBron and Kobe one-on-one? How about that, Sid?
Yeah, Kobe,
because essentially this is take Harden and Chet versus Smush Parker and Devin George. Obviously, you would take Harden and Chet. Or why don't you take LeBron, Harden, and Devin George versus Kobe and Chet and Parker or something? Why don't you make it more even? Why would you take 3 quality players against 1 quality player and 1 average player and then 1 terrible player? That's
right.
not even.
I need something fair to work with here, Sid. Like I would look. I would take. You want to go with some of those ass Laker components? I would take like, and look, Lamar Odom's not ass, but I like Kobe, Lamar, and Kwame Brown, like 3 people from that 05-06 team that lost in the first round. Like I would take Kobe, Lamar, and Kwame because
How about Bynum? How about Bynum, Lamar, and Kobe?
I need some size here. I can't have Chet Holmgren on the floor and no size at all. And then LeBron's big as hell too. He's like 6'8", 260 or whatever. So I mean I would in this question, Sid, I agree with Gary. I would have to go with LeBron, Harden, and Chet. But that you stack the deck substantially. If it's Kobe versus LeBron one-on-one, Kobe for sure. Kobe ain't losing that game one-on-one. We all know it. Xavier DeGod is up next. LeBron might pull a KD and join Curry and make Draymond Green's dreams come true, and he could play with his GOAT, his favorite player of all time. Could you imagine how disgusting that would be? I would actually like to see it. That would be so utterly nauseating. LeBron and Draymond could do podcasts during the whole season together because we know LeBron got his little podcast. We know Draymond is a full-time podcaster, podcasting from like the hotel room of away games. They could do a pod together, Braun and Dre, and it could be like a little heart thing that like joins over top of them, could be the little logo for it, and they could just sit in pajamas and do it in each other's like they could stay, go to each other's hotel room, have pillow fights while they're doing their pods. So yeah, this could be we could really be onto something here, Xavier. That I wouldn't mind if he would go to Golden State. That would be a crazy story, I think. When it Steph and LeBron teamed up with Jimmy Butler coming back at some point, that would be actually pretty captivating. Not that I think it would work or that they would do anything in the playoffs, but it would be a fun ass story throughout the year. So that would be, I wouldn't mind seeing that, quite frankly. All right, we got Skap Jr., Skap's grandson here. So this, guys, if you're new to the show, I have a fake illegitimate bastard child, Skap Jr., that comes in from time to time. And after that, we have now also a fake grandson, Skap Jr., Skap's grandson, who has now come to the show as well. So welcome into you, Skap Jr. Your dad's not even on tonight, so I appreciate you being here and supporting us. Help get my fly grandfather to 100K subs. Love you. Thank you, Skap Jr. I appreciate that. And please listen to my fake grandson here. Will you guys? Yes, this would be my fake grandson, I guess. Get to my homepage or whatever. Hit that subscribe button, damn it. Turn on notifications and stay up to date with all things. Hopefully all sports related soon. I'll be talking all sports moving forward, but definitely NBA related. Get on there and do it. Listen to my fake grandson. I love you too, fake grandson. All right, and now we've got Xavier DeGod back in the house again. A true respectable man never sells out, but a smart one probably would, though. But not everyone can be bought no matter what. I disagree, Xavier. I completely and full-heartedly disagree. Like I said, everybody has a cost for everything, depending. Like I said,
some people had to fear God, though. Some people had to fear God and believe if they were to do that they would face eternal consequences. So those are some people who cannot be bought. Some of them could, but there are people out there who do believe in heaven and hell, and therefore they would never do something they failed to compromise that.
This is what I'm talking about, though. I said you're not doing anything overtly illegal or bringing harm to any living thing, like intentionally.
Right, but even that, there are still there are some principles. I'm not saying a lot of people, but I'm saying there are some people who are that, like, their faith is that strong that there are plenty of things that are legal to do that are deemed to be sins that people think, oh, if I do that, I'm going to lose my right standing position with God if I were to do that thing. So even if it is legal, there are certain things.
Gary, here's the thing, though. You hate LeBron too. You have also been outspoken, harsh critic of LeBron. If Rich Paul showed up at your door with $100 million and said, all you got to do is go on your platform and promote LeBron as the GOAT, you're going to do it.
It's not that I'm telling you off the top of my head that I wouldn't do it. It's to your point. I don't know how I could, because there's not a case. I could say the best I could do in that case is highlight how good he's been in spurts, in which I already do that anyways. I guess I could. I don't know how I could spin it. The thing is, the way that I am, being autistic, I can't lie. I'm like incapable. Like, you can see it all over me. So
right.
There's if I did it, I'd be a laughing stock, and he won his money back. Because it'd be like, okay, this guy was clearly bought. It would have been given away. I can't go on like Nick Wright. And I made a video and caught Nick Wright's duper delight when an interviewer who he was kind of semi-joking around about said that, he said something about Nick being a plant or something. And Nick started to, like, you could see the duper's delight, which is a slight smile. And then he covered up and said, no, I'm not, like that. I put the video on my channel, Gary828 Sports Talk. Nick Wright got caught with his LeBron lie. If anybody wants to check it out. So I am saying, like, for me, and there are other people like me, you just cannot, you can't get away with lying as smooth as someone else. If he offered me $100 million, I'd be like, well, I don't know if this is just like the beginning. Here's the truth of the matter. I wasn't trying to be argumentative with you at the beginning of the live stream. You said, Gary's being spicy. He's trying to argue. Jay, this is not, this is not an echo chamber. I think very differently than the average person. I don't think like you do. You don't think like I do. I'm not trying to argue with you. This is how I, honest to goodness, think. So what I'm getting at, because I think so much differently, it's really hard for certain people to be bought. And I think that's what Xavier's point is that there are certain people that couldn't.
And Gary, and this is my point to it. Like, yes, there's honestly, while these sports things and these sports takes aren't life or death or anything crazy important, they're really not. But like the LeBron conversation or whatever is one of the things that I honestly feel most strongly and passionately about in my entire life. So like it really, like I've been married for 3 years now, but I've been with my wife for 9 years. And when I came here to meet, my first time I flew to Florida from PA to meet her whole friend circle. There's like a few different friend groups that I met. One of the friends that I met was like this guy that was like they go all the way back to high school. We were in our 30s when we met, and I think she went to high school with this guy. This guy was one of her very best friends. They never dated or anything like that, but she even like lived like it was like a roommate of his, I believe, at one point. I don't exactly know the full dynamic, but a very close friend. And this dude is such a freaking insufferable, disgusting LeBron jock sniffer. When I met him 9 years ago, he had LeBron as the GOAT. And he said to me the first night I met this clown loser, he said to me, I struggle to have Kobe Bryant in my top 20. So like, I then am like screaming at this dude, like debating this dude on Kobe LeBron the first night I meet him. And one of the guys that is like, it was like his best friend and worked with him, worked very closely with him, was like, yo, this dude's making a lot of sense, talking about me, saying like, this guy's making a lot of sense about Kobe. Love that guy to this day. Love that. The guy that came to my Kobe defense. Love that guy to this day. The clown idiot that had LeBron as the GOAT, because you're an idiot. Quite frankly, if you have LeBron at 1 and Kobe at 20, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. I think so little of you. Like if you say LeBron's the GOAT and like Jordan's 2 and Kobe's 3 or 4, whatever. Like differences, let bygones be bygones. If you've got Kobe, if you say to me, I struggle to have Kobe Bryant at 20 and I have LeBron at 1, you're an idiot. Like I have no reason, desire, or need to be friends with you ever in life. Like I really do believe that. So like I feel that strongly about this topic. And yet I'm telling you. So I want to say, to Xavier's point, I want to say, hell no, no price. There is no dollar. Like I want to say that. And I do believe that. Like in right now, as I sit here, I believe that there's no value that you can throw at me that would make me say LeBron's the GOAT. However, I just know, like human nature is, if a suitcase of $100 million was presented to me, like no strings attached, like some like movie scene where they open a briefcase, like the Breaking Bad scene where Walter is laying down on that huge bed of money. Like if that is presented to me, I'm just being realistic and saying more than likely, like I would probably, there is a value, but I just don't know what the value is. It would have to be an immense value. Like we're not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars or like $1 million. Like it would be a no for that. Like, honestly, if Rich Paul showed up and said, here's $1 million, I'd be like, thanks, no thanks. Like, I'll take my chances moving forward, like doing my own thing on my own platform over the next couple of years and see what I can make. But like 50 million, 100 million, like there would be a number, Gary, where it would get hard to say no. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Gary.
But let me ask you this though. Say you had $100 million and let's say could you make a case, Skap, I'll give you $100 million, but you have to say Kobe is 15 or 20th of all time. Now I ask you this. If you say, well, still 100 million is a lot, what in the heck are you going to do with $100 million throughout the rest of your life and live with yourself knowing that you lied to the masses, that you manipulated the masses to go against Kobe Bryant, who is no longer with us, who could not defend himself? You think right now that that money would satisfy you? I don't think it would. I think that you would actually regret it. I think after you got the money, there's only so much money that we need. Like, we think we want to have these large amounts of money. Really, I just think we need the essentials. And then some people want to live in bigger homes and nicer cars, and that's fine and good. But there comes a point where it's too much. And that's why you see so many people, like a lot of these celebrities who are still depressed, and you see they have their issues that goes to the public spotlight. They check into rehab. And you're thinking, well, they have everything. They have tens of millions, $100 million. Why would they possibly be sad? Because all that money does is ensure that the lights are on and they have shelter. But you can make $100,000 a year and have that covered. So I'm saying you might actually regret it, even though you think that money may satisfy. Kind of like, to your point of Breaking Bad being one of the best shows of all time. Look what happened. He had all that money, but then what could he really do with it?
Well, Walter was still, look, it was about more than the money for Walter. It was just about being the best at something and like being genuinely the master of something and being feared and all that stuff. The things that he never had, that he never satisfied in his life, or that, he felt like he had missed out on, like he got that opportunity doing that. So I feel like it was truly about more than the money for him. But Gary, Gregory Lieber's point, this is a good point. Curry signs with Li Ning. Every man has a price. That's a great. How much more money does Curry need realistically? Now, and obviously this isn't really selling out, but why? He went to a Chinese shoe company. Like, that's weird to me. Like, Steph Curry, one of the marquee NBA players, like and say what you will, like that kind of does seem like a sellout, doesn't it? Like going to China to have like his, like, I don't know, like you're an American superstar playing it. And look, no one's more of a defender and a protectorate of the foreign game than me. But you've got Steph Curry, and how much money do you think Steph Curry has? Like in general?
I think it's like around, I don't know, but the number 300 million approximately somewhere.
No, well, this deal was 400 million. Gary.
No. This one was up for, I thought I saw that it was around $1 billion that he'd be getting, like 1.1 billion, and that he previously is worth 300 million. That's what I read.
Let me see Steph Curry's contract history. Steph Curry has made a total of $535 million in his NBA playing career.
I was talking about the Under Armour.
470 he's earned. And then by the time his contract's up, it will be 530. And then, Gary, he's probably made 200 million off the court or whatever. So we're talking about this guy's made $700 million or something like that in his lifetime. And he still just goes and grabs the money. We just want the money, as I always quote.
I think there's a big difference, though, between going on TV and lying about something and then just simply representing a product. Because at the end of the day, this Chinese shoe is just a product he's representing. I believe they said over 10 years he would get $1.19 billion is what I saw. And his Under Armour deal had been somewhere between like 300 and 400 over the last decade. So I'm saying, yeah, sure, Lining or lining, whatever that is, would not be my first choice either. But at the end of the day, it is just a product. So I don't necessarily feel like he's compromising morals to sell a product. Now, if he was getting on saying, you know what, Bron's better than Jordan, Bron's better than Kobe, well, here's some insight I have about Kobe, something to lie and diminish his career, that would be lying, which is actually a commandment in the Bible, thou shalt not lie. So there's a big difference.
But Gary, there is no stronger commandment in the entire, this was the 11th commandment that broke off when Moses got the tablets, where was it, in Mount Sinai? This was the 11th one that broke off from Gregory Lieber said, God said, thou shalt not have brawn, number one. Gary 3:16.
That doesn't cancel what I just said. It plays into it because I said what? Thou shalt not lie. That's a flat out lie. So there you go.
Exactly. So yes, Gregory, great call. That is an actual commandment. If none of you, if you guys didn't realize that it broke off, but it was part of the original. It was the 11th. Okay, guys, I think we're hitting the 245 mark. We still have 530 people in here. I've worked my way through all these comments tonight. It is 2:11 a.m. on the East, where I and Gary are coming from. Like I said, I have a busy morning tomorrow of getting beat on by Jason Whitlock on Fearless and Dre more than likely as well. The guy that was on today with us. I'm forgetting. Dre Baldwin. Yeah, Dre Baldwin and Jason Whitlock will be double teaming me tomorrow on Fearless, probably around 11:05 a.m. So I feel like I need to get my beauty sleep. I need to look up some analytics and have all of my T's crossed and my I's dotted for that convo tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna click out a little early tonight, shy of the 3 hour. Though this feels good, Gary. I like these. My goal is always 90 minutes. If I can hold it though to around 2.5 hours, that's certainly an acceptable period of time. Because Gary, I'm thinking ahead of doing these live shows every day. So Monday through Friday, at least. So I cannot be on like 4 or 5 hours every day. A quick 90 is what I've got in my mind. But tonight was perfect, I thought. Great conversation both ways. Good stuff from you guys as always in the comments. Very generous night from you guys as always. And still, like I said, still over 500 people in here. I appreciate you guys coming in and sticking with me through all of the crazy, weird conversations that we get into on this show. But guys, appreciate it. Gary and I will take the day off tomorrow. Of course, Friday, that pivotal game 2 in San Antonio. Again, the Spurs 5.5 point favorites to open that must-win game, obviously, for them. I think they will win. It will be an interesting game, though, to see what the Spurs do in terms of adjustments. Will Brunson play better? How does the leg respond to a day off? So a bunch of things to check out. Gary and I will be on immediately following that game on Friday night. Again, probably around 11 o'clock our time, 11 o'clock on the East in the U.S. PM. So join us, as always, that same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Until then, guys, though, have a great rest of your night. Have a great day tomorrow. And again, please do hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on to stay up to date with more from me. Until next time.